that dial. You're now listening to Debate Talk Free Radio.
All praises, all honor, all glory to the supreme intellect of the universe. This is Nasi Yashuvel of Shomrei HaTorah in Atlanta. And if I'm not reading my Torah or suplexing some false deity, I'm listening to my man, Sal Showtime, and Debate Talk for You Radio. Beautiful. Keep doing the good work, brother, bringing forth the information and spreading that love. Brother B.A. Ben Abraham, and I'm your host of the Man Up segment on Debate Talk for You platform. The objective is for all brothers from different walks of life to come together, link up, and build on matters concerning all various stages of life. If anyone would like to reach out on concepts and ideas, you can reach Brother B.A. at radicalrhyme1984@gmail.com. Again, radicalrhyme1984@gmail.com. Tap in. Let's build. Shalom. Shalom.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to another show. You're now listening to Season 8 of Debate Talk for You Radio. Of course, I'm your host, Sal Showtime. We are back with another classic show for the family out there that's tuning in. We appreciate you guys that's listening to the show on Facebook, via phone, or via Skype. I got the number 319-527-6239. Today's show is entitled Hebrew Representatives at the House of Consciousness 2018. What do you think? And once again, today's show is entitled Hebrew Representatives at the House of Consciousness 2018. What do you think? Now, the reason why we bringing this topic to the table is because, as we all know, the House of Consciousness on TV, a lot of us watch it. I've actually been at a few events in the past. It's been a long time since I've been to an event, but the last event I went to was Kemet on Trial, actually. And it was a huge turnout. A lot of Hebrew Israelites represented in the building. As a matter of fact, to the credit of whoever organized it, was a lot of love in the room when that whole event went down. It was super crowded. And when I walked in there, of course, a lot of brothers showed me love as well. So that was the last event I actually went to, the Kemet on Trial. But a lot of people speak about some of the brothers that come on Sunday TV. Some of the good light, some of the not so good light. Yeah, brothers. I know when I first started watching Sunday TV, the first Hebrew Israelite brother I saw that really was on there when I first started watching was the Mighty Hebrew. Shout out to the Mighty Hebrew. And he had to sit down with Sarasu and Seti. So that's when I actually had interest in seeing what's going on at the House of Consciousness side of the TV. And, of course, after that, we had my brother Nasi Yashuvel, who made a huge impact when he stepped foot at the House of Consciousness. I believe he had a debate with Sarasu and Seti. But before I go on, let me just introduce my special guest who's joining me right here tonight on Debate Talk Free Radio. And by the way, a lot of the Hebrew brothers that's a part of the House of Consciousness is fully aware of this particular program. If you're out there listening and you want to join the panel, guys, I'm just letting you know you can actually join the panel and stay at the remainder of the show. I repeat, if you're a Hebrew Israelite that represents the House of Consciousness and you want to stay on the panel or you want to just, chime in, feel free to press number 1. And if you want to stay with us for the duration of the show, you can. Because we're going to open up the phone lines for the community. The show is all about actually hearing from the community what they think about the Hebrew Israelites that go on the House of Consciousness, how they've been doing, how they've been representing, things of that nature. So let me introduce my special guest before I go on. My first special guest is all the way from the West Coast, Brother B.A. Welcome to the show.
Yo, Sal, what's the word? Praise the Most High in the name of His holy, anointed messenger known as Yeshua the Christ. It's Brother B.A. out of Sacramento once again, and I'm glad to be part of the discussion. I'm going to fall back.
All right, once again, that's Brother B.A., the host of the Man Up segment right here on Debate Talk for You Radio. And my next special guest is another brother that actually joined the Debate Talk for You family. He's a part of the Man Up segment, a regular panelist on it, and also going to be a regular panelist on the TRC show, The Relationship Challenge. This is Anonymous Hebrew. Welcome to the show.
Yo, shalom, Sal. Shalom to everybody. All praises to the Most High. Like B.A. said, in the name of His anointed, Yeshua HaMashiach. I'm just ready to get it in. Let's start talking about this.
All right, family. And as usual, we open up the phone lines to the family out there. Once again, that number, 319-527-6239. 6239. Simply press number 1 if you want to chime into this conversation. For those that are new to the show, the rules is there's no foul language. You got to keep it clean, keep it professional. Believe it or not, we have children listen to the show, teenagers, and even the elderly. So once you call in, try to keep it as clean as possible. But we want to hear from the family out there. We want to hear from you guys. But that's what the show is all about, hearing from the listening audience. What do they think? For the people out there that watch House of Consciousness, that watch Sonetta TV. And again, for those that are actually a part of the House of Consciousness, we're opening up the phone lines to you as well. We want to hear what you guys got to say. And if you want to stay with us to hear, directly answer the family out there that call in, you can stay with us and, for the duration of the rest of the show. But let's get right into this House of Consciousness. Anonymous Hebrew, how long you been watching the House of Consciousness? What was the first time you started checking it out?
Man, it's been at least 3 or 4 years, like solid, but off and on. I'm not even sure, but like you said, some of the first ones that I really was watching was like the, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 years solid. I don't want to say 3 or 4 because that might have been too long. But like you said, the first thing that I really saw was Nasi. The first thing I really seen was Nasi Yashuvell get up there and do his thing. And so for me, it was cool just to actually see Hebrew brothers representing, actually defending what we believe, whether it be Torah only or quote-unquote messianic. So to see it and then actually see the brothers going in presenting real good information, I thought it was powerful. I did personally. I started to see, the more I would watch, though, the more I started to see a lot of the scuffles that would come up and a lot of the disrespect. But I know, I guess a lot of that, some is for entertainment. Some of it, be real, though. But so, it's kind of like a mixed bag for me because it's good to see Hebrews on there at least pushing for us, but it's also difficult to see, especially like if we pushing this pro-blackness, or at least that's what a lot of brothers go in there and push, and we'll kind of deal with that, I think, between me and Brother B.A. Like, I don't necessarily see that always throughout the text, but if we pushing this pro-blackness on that show, it does seem to be a lot of disrespect geared towards the Hebrews at times. So, it's a mixed bag. It's good to see us on it representing, but it's hard sometimes to see almost it feel like it's kind of like a setup sometimes. So, I don't know. I think it's a good platform just to, kind of push it, to keep the people out there, keep the people engaged and informed. But it's also hard to see some of that disrespect. So for me, it's kind of a mixed bag, and I guess we'll get into it a little more as we go on. That's all I got right now.
All right. Well, you mentioned Nasi Yashuvell. So what is it about when Nasi Yashuvell got on the scene in the House of Consciousness that made you raise an eyebrow? Let's talk about it.
He was unapologetically Hebrew. Like, that was the main thing I liked about it. You know what I'm saying? He got up there, he had his fringes, and he wasn't backing down the SETI at all. But I also liked the fact that he was presenting information that I could actually go back and research and see, okay, this actually makes sense, things lined up. So for me, it was mainly, though, just standing strong, being apologetically Hebrew, standing hard for what I know this Torah speaks and what I believe the Baruch Halashah speaks is how this Torah can really save our people. Nothing against Kemet. I'm not supposed to abhor an Egyptian. That's what the Torah teaches me. So I don't abhor no commission, but I see them abhorring us, when they got titles like the Hebrew killer and all of this. So it's good to see a brother like Nasi get up there and present that information and do it in a way that I didn't feel like he was being super disrespectful, but I felt like he had to do what he had to do based upon the spirit that brother came to him in. So for me, just to see Nasi stand up there strong and also know, because I know I had dealt with a lot of Torah-only brothers before then, so I knew a lot of what they believed, but to see him present it in a way that we could still be proud and say, okay, I could rock with that. For me, that was cool. It was hot just to see a Hebrew get up there and not be afraid, just be unapologetic about
it. Yeah. And Brother BA, same question goes to you. When did you first start watching Sinetta TV, the House of Consciousness, and who was one of the people that, as far as the Hebrew Israelites are concerned, that, got your attention from there?
Man, I've been watching, I'm going to say maybe 2013. I can remember it was the brother Tazaryach and Polite, and I can remember before the actual debate how Sinetta, man, the promotion on that was excellent, man, and it was good for the Hebrew community, and not just for the commissions, but I think overall people who are black or melanated. I think it was good because at that time, I know out here on the West Coast in Sacramento, where I grew up at, consciousness was something that we were not too aware of. I mean, you had people out here that was on the consciousness thought or the way of thinking of that in that direction. But Sinetta, his platform was one of the first platforms out there that I saw, and other brothers who I knew, and out here in Sacramento where I'm at, it took off, and it provoked a lot of us to actually get involved in the different doctrines within the House of Consciousness. So prior to me getting involved with with Sinetta, I was already on the verge of on the pro-black way of thinking, and our people being Israel. So I was already an Israelite at that point. But I never heard anyone debate like Tazaryach and Polite did when it came to our people overall, rather we be whatever you want to call it, we want to personify to call ourselves. So to see those two brothers go at it, even though I was supporting Tazaryach because he's a Hebrew, it was good to see those two brothers debate, because at that point, and I'm gonna say it out here for just me and anonymous Hebrew you probably can identify with this. Out here on the West Coast, where I'm at, it's not common that we see a lot of our people debate in those type of forums when it comes to knowledge and information. So it was most definitely uplifting and a powerful thing to see, and I will always respect Sinetta for using his platform for all people, or for all of our people of different doctrines. I mean, there are some things on there that we may not agree with from time to time, but I do respect Sinetta for allowing his platform and for opening the door, because there's a lot of our people who are conscious thanks to Sinetta. So we will always appreciate him for carrying the conscious community on his back, or using it as a platform for other people who are for when it comes to our people who are living in darkness, or who are confused, or who are not aware of who they are. Two individuals that stood out to me when it comes to being Hebrews. Two other individuals, Nasi, which Namas Hebrew was talking about, and Zion Lexx. Those two brothers, I got a chance to talk to them. They probably don't remember me because it was one we corresponded through text and had maybe one conversation at once. And even though those brothers, I told those brothers that I rock with Christ personally. I told them that, and it's been a while since I've talked to them both. They probably won't even remember. But one thing about it, they were still brotherly to me. They reached out and they both said, if there's anything you want to inquire when it comes to Torah, or you want to read a book or some information or some knowledge that you want as a young brother on your journey, feel free to contact. Feel free to email me and let me know whatever it is you need. I'll do it for you, King. And that's how both of those brothers worded that to me. They called me King. So even though we may have our differences on who the Messiah is or who he isn't, those brothers still were brotherly to me. And I've said this in the past, that the brothers who subscribe to the Torah only, I've had more powerful building with them than my own brothers who call themselves Messianic. So I appreciate those brothers, and much love to them if they're listening. My name is Brother B.A., and much love to y'all, even though I know we have our disagreements, but I appreciate the work and the love for our people. And that's pretty much it, Sal. Anything else you want to ask?
Yeah, most definitely. I see we got two people that pressed number one. Stand by, gentlemen. I saw some other people that pressed number one, but if they pressed it again, I guess. If you press it again, it's going to take you off the switchboard. So if you have a question or a comment, or if you want to dialogue with us, feel free to just press number 1 and stand by. We're going to get to you guys and go down in order and take some of your questions and, take some of your comments and hear what you guys got to say. We're talking about the House of Consciousness family. We're talking about Sonetta TV. And like I said on the Facebook page, we definitely, appreciate the work that Sonetta has put out there, for years, things of that nature. You know what I mean? Like I said, I went to a few events. The last one I went to was the Criminal on Trial. And like I said, going to these places and, experiencing these debates, was definitely, a great environment when I went. It wasn't hostile when I went. Everything was pretty great, pretty much good. Now, as far as, all the Hebrew Israelites that go on the House of Consciousness, let's just name a few of them and give us your perspective on each of them. Let's go with Anonymous Hebrew. Go ahead.
Just strictly in terms of the Hebrews?
Yes, in terms of the Hebrews, yes.
So I think we named 3, from what I heard, 3 of the powerhouses that we see on there, and that's the Mighty Hebrew, Brother Nasi Yashuvel, and also Zion Lexx. And those are 3 brothers that, I also have learned a lot from. And I think we all know the next brother I'm going to speak of, kind of like last but not least, is the Brother Divine Prospect. I don't want to go too far into other Hebrews because I haven't really followed a lot of what those other brothers say, but in terms of those 4, I'm very well aware of their work. And the crazy thing, the funny thing is, I can't say that I agree wholeheartedly with anything that any of those brothers teach, right? But so like with Divine Prospect, we may agree mostly in part of mostly everything, especially because he's what we call quote unquote messianic. But it's amazing to see the brains and the intellect of these brothers. And then it's also amazing to see how the Ruach works in terms of leading us in Torah and leading us through this word. And you'll find yourself on the same page as these brothers that you haven't even had a chance to build with. So for me, those are the 4 right now, for me, that stand up, the 4 key brothers that have really went out and kind of paved the way for the rest of the Hebrews. I mean, and, you got a lot of commissions, more. I mean, like you said, his platform is built to accommodate different brothers. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me not do that because Captain Tazaryach also gets on there and goes hard for us. So I would say those 5. If we got what we say top 5 dead or alive, like that's the top 5 for me. Just in terms of the way that those brothers will get out there and really present the information for us. They present it in a way that we can digest it, but they also, all of them, in their own rights, are unapologetically Hebrew. And you can even see I'll speak on the first part because it's really important. And I'm going to speak on this. The only reason I want to speak on names because I want to exemplify something with our community. Brother Zion Lexx and Brother Divine are kind of opposite on the spectrum. We know Zion Lexx is Torah only. Brother Divine is Messianic. But we just recently saw how they can sit down and be amicable and actually discuss how things, how they have different views. And so in that respect, I want to applaud the brothers for giving us a blueprint on how we can try to build between Messianic and non-Messianic. And I'm just going to put this out there real quick. We need to figure out a different word between this Messianic and non-Messianic because it causes division in itself because I believe we all believe in a Messiah to come or the Messiah that has come and has a second coming and then a Messiah that has not come. But we just disagree on who it is. So if we can figure out a new way, some of our creative brothers out there, a new way to kind of identify that, I think that would also help to bridge the gap. But I think those top 5, Mighty Hebrew, Zion Lexx, Tazaryach, Brother Divine, and who else? And Brother Nasi Yashuvel. I think those 5 for me really stand out and have really, they challenged me. They challenged me to take my study to a next level and to become, decent. We'll just say decent in the Hebrew to where I can read it and teach it to my children. So that's all I got.
All right, Brother B.A.
Yeah, one individual that stands out that I mentioned earlier was the one thing that stood out to me about this brother was brother Tazaryach. His passion and his fire to be an Israelite. I also can say as well, I don't agree with everything the brothers brought out, but I can most definitely admire and respect the man's fire and him calling himself a lion coming out of ISUBK, because he's also said on various occasions that their elders or their teachers in the camp that they belong to, they raise up lions to fight and defend his word. So most definitely, Tazaryach's fire and passion and zeal to debate and his love for the things he stands in, that's what made me proud of being a Hebrew. I'm not gonna lie. When he was going back and forth with Polite, most definitely I was pulling for my brother Tazaryach. I was pulling for him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, no disrespect to Polite. You know, Polite he's an elegant brother with his vocabulary and his wordplay, and the brother also has information that brothers need to look into and consider. So Tazaryach was most definitely a brother who really made me proud to be Hebrew. It was in me at the time, 28, 29 years old at that time, and I was just like amazed that there was an individual or just brothers of his type who could open up the word and just deliver 1-2 punch, smash mouth, raw, rugged, get it. So if the brothers listening, brother, just know this, that it's a lot of brothers out here in the West Coast who love and respect your fire and what you have brought to the table and what you've done for this community. Like I said, when it comes to Lexx was a brother who I've always had a respect for. His history, his knowledge on the history when it comes to the Assyrian chronology, the Sumerians, Kemet, and the various other Canaanite or African traditions or different religions or the different doctrines or the Kemetic or the Canaanite tribes or of that sector. He's also brought some information out that has provoked me to look into and to consider it. Another brother, he's not a Hebrew, but I would say Brother Garfield. I know there's a few times I've been to Google Hangout with the brother, and I kind of shot myself in the foot thinking it's because I'm a Hebrew and I know the Bible that that's all I need to know. But Garfield was a brother who provoked me to actually start looking at other sources from other secular sources. So I most definitely appreciate that brother for his knowledge and his wisdom, what he shared with me when it comes to the prayer of Nebuchadnezzar in the book of Daniel, some things that most definitely needs to be looked at. And there's one more thing about Brother Garfield, and one thing that he showed me is that when it comes to a lot of brothers who, and this is something I didn't know, this is not to attack none of the brothers who are Torah only, but he brought something to my attention that when it comes to the book of Daniel, that is something that a lot of the Torah brothers have not expounded on as much. And that's not to attack. That's not to say the brothers don't deal with the book of Daniel, but that was something that he brought out that he made aware to my attention that I did not see commonly online. So when he brought that to my attention, I most definitely was putting out there that I would love to see the Torah-only brothers deal with the book of Daniel more often. So I appreciate the brother for that. And let's see. Ron Divine Prospect, I don't know the brother personally, but I have watched his work the last couple of years. Big ups to the brother. He's doing some good work in the community. I was impressed when he had his one-on-one with Vocab Malone. He most definitely, in my opinion, handled himself very well, scholarly in a lot of ways. And that's as far as it goes with me. As far as it goes with me when it comes to Brother Divine, I still need to look at more of his work. And who else? Let's see, Mighty Hebrew. Haven't gotten a chance to see much of him. I remember he did a sit-down with Sarah Sunasetti a couple of years back. I got a chance to look at that. I think maybe that was in the early 2000s, maybe 2008, 2009, somewhere around that time. I did get a chance to look at that not too long ago. I don't know if it's still up on YouTube. Could be not. Let's see. I think at this moment, those are probably the brothers who have gotten my attention, who are Hebrews, and other brothers like Red Pill, Blue Pill, and various other brothers who have come on and brought out different sorts of knowledge and information that when it comes. And then one thing about it, I'll just say this: watching those brothers, whether they be Hebrew or Moors or Muslim or whatever they prefer to call themselves or what they go by, it is motivating to see black people or melanated people in this country, rather what doctrine they go by, to be proud of who they are. Yes, there's some things that we disagree with on how the brothers conduct themselves from time to time. We're human beings. We're not going to always agree. Yes, we understand that some of the brothers don't like the Bible. Yes, we understand that some of the brothers don't like the New Testament. But one thing I will say is that when it comes to who they are as black people or melanated people or people of African descent, you can respect and you can come to love their pride and their zeal for their people. I know Brother Garfield has always been brotherly to me and said, whatever you need, King, give me a call, or whatever you need, brother, email me, and we can most definitely expound on some of that information you're looking for, and I can do the best I can to help you as a young brother going your way. So even though we may have our disagreements, but the thing is that the brothers have always been brotherly. There's some things that we disagree with on how some of the brothers have conducted themselves in the past, yeah, but I can set that to the side and say that some of their other works or their other deeds or actions has outshined that in some sense. And that's it, Sal.
All right, family, once again, that number is 319-527-6239. We're going to go to the phone lines in a few minutes. But other Hebrew Israelites that weren't mentioned, that were actually a part of the House of Consciousness, remember Hebrew Perry?
Yeah, Hebrew Perry, that's another brother. I remember him and said it was Polite. Him and Polite, they had like a debate, like a street debate, and Perry, I think Perry is still on YouTube. I haven't talked to the brother in a while. Perry, if you're out there, brother, much love to you. Brother B.A. Ben Abraham out on the West Coast. It's been a minute. But yeah, brother, that's another brother who was on there for a while. Who else, Sal? Yeah, you got to probably name a few others. There's a few of them brothers I'm aware of. It's just been a while since I've been on it, watching Sonnetter or any of his platforms as of late. Oh, brother, Priest Daniela. That's another brother.
Priest Daniela. There we go.
Yeah, Priest Daniela. The first time I seen Priest Daniela was on the Kemet on Trial. Well, not necessarily on the Kemet on Trial, but it was another promotion they were doing, getting the Kemet on Trial ready. He came out and was talking about, what do you believe, Polite? We don't know what you believe. And he brought out some good things at the preliminary. But another brother who I respect, even though I have my disagreements with him, is Brother H.O.K. Another brother who has fire.
Yep.
Yeah, who is just on fire for the Most High. Even though he is well skilled in his belief, he has a stance, and people may disagree with his passion or his way how he goes about it. But one thing I can say about Brother H.O.K. is that brother has a fire. He has an intensity. And one thing about our men, when it comes to us brothers as Hebrews or as black men or whatever we want to call ourselves, we are lacking that. It's good to have that fire. It's good to have brothers like Ashar stay on the street corners and at least deliver some type of momentum and bring some type of respect back to our people, because to be honest, I will say this, when it comes to our people, especially us as men, we are not respected in this country. So even though I don't agree wholeheartedly 100% with these brothers, I do love and appreciate their passion, their love for being black men. And it's motivated because I'm a father and I have daughters. So the thing is for me is that I want my daughters to see black men have a strength, have a zeal, have some type of unity publicly, so our young women can come to their black men and continue to uplift and rebuild the family, the black family, because I'm big on that. I don't hate nobody else, but I love my people. And I don't have a hate or racism for nobody else, but when it comes to black improvement, I am big on that. And that's one thing about that, the House of Consciousness. That's even though, like I said before, we don't agree with all their methods, but one thing that we will appreciate and love and agree, and I think I speak for all three of us right here, and maybe for the callers as well, is that we love and we appreciate what they have brought to the table. And when it, as far as the light shining on being black, and when it comes to black conscious teachings or black conscious studies or the radical teachings of black consciousness. And you go ahead, Sal.
All right, family. Once again, today's show is entitled Hebrew Representatives at the House of Consciousness 2018. What do you think? Getting notifications all over the place. People want to chime in. So, without further ado, let's jump to the phone lines, family. Again, that number is 319-527-6239. If you missed the earlier part of the show, if anybody call in and they're actually a part of the House of Consciousness, as far as the Hebrews are concerned, you can call in, and if you want to remain for the duration of the rest of the show, you can stay with us and answer the people questions directly if they have any questions for you. But once again, if you're out there, anybody from the H.O.K, from the Hebrew Israelites that represent the Hebrew Israelites, my brothers, if you want to stay with us and you want to call in, and or you just want to say your piece, you're going to say your piece, that's fine. But if you want to stay with us and answer some of the people questions, you can. Well, let's go to the phone lines, y'all. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to 716-541. You're live in there. Uh, 716-541. Can you hear me?
It was on mute. I'm sorry. Thank you, Sal. I would like to say good evening to your special guest, too. I like what was said about the reuniting of the family. You really don't need the Bible to do that, do you? Do you need the Bible to do that?
I wouldn't use the Bible as a book of supremacy, because the Bible is not a book of color or any type of black or white or purple supremacy. So I wouldn't necessarily say that we should use the Bible, as a black man's book, or should we call it a white man's book, because it's the book of the Most High. This is my thing about the scriptures. If we believe the Bible to be the witness of the Most High, his book, and we believe it to be inspired by him and written by his prophets and his anointed, if we believe that, then that means we believe everything that's in it. And it shouldn't take that type of belief to promote pro-black or black supremacy. No, the Bible is not a book of flesh supremacy. It is a book of spirit, because we understand Yahweh or Yahweh or Jehovah or Yahweh Bashem or whatever we prefer to call him nowadays. We understand the Most High, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Father of Yeshua. We understand him to be a spirit, and he is not bound by a building, he is not bound by a doctrine, and he is not bound by skin color. So even though I appreciate the brothers, I said their names, I appreciate their fire and their zeal, that is the one disagreement I have, but that's not to disrespect them. That's just me putting it out there that my understanding, and when I read the biblical text or the holy text, the Torah and the law and the prophets and the apostles and the Apocrypha, I don't see the Bible promoting pro-blackness. Don't see it. And every single time that Israel as a nation got into themselves, the Most High always has something waiting for them. I'm going to fall back, brother Anonymous. You go ahead and allow the sister to speak, or you go ahead and expound if you would like to, my brother.
Can I follow up on what you said?
Yeah, most definitely.
No, he misunderstood me. No, I was not saying that. What I was saying that to reunite the family, the book is the truth. That goes without saying. But so far as the different, like the conscious or the Masonic or the non-Messianic, you don't need to argue or the Bible to restore the family, do you? There's something that you guys can have in common. That's no argument, right?
When you say restore the family, are you talking about God's family? You talking about Africans? What do you mean?
I'm talking about a husband, wife, children, family unit.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to get clear. I believe you do need the Bible to restore the family unit, and I'll explain to you why. If you understand what's going on throughout the entire text, you can see the breakdown of the family unit. From the garden, you see the breakdown of the family unit. And so, especially now when you're dealing with our culture, our world in 2018, with the tools that the adversary has available between social media, television, music, all of these different avenues of breaking down the family. I believe, and this is just me personally, and I'm sure once I clarify this, I'm sure Brother B.A. will come back and clarify. That's why I wanted to wait and see what you meant by your question.
Okay, but you helped me, though, and I'm glad you said that. Now, all that stuff you said, now that energy could be put on, like you said, the music that they're putting out today. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Y'all come together on something. You know what I mean? The Bible is the truth, and you should come together, you know what I mean, through the word. You know what I mean? But if all else fails and you cannot, then you find an area where you guys can agree so something can be done.
Okay, yeah. So that was going to be my final point. My final point then lines up with Torah, right? Whether we messianic, non-messianic, even some commissions will admit that there's truth, especially when we're dealing with Torah. That is where we can unite, because and if you take the time to really read, and I'll just say the Tanakh as a whole, but I specifically say the Torah in terms of what we can use to unite is because we can find those same messages taught in the New Testament as well as the Old Testament. And I'm just using New Testament and Old Testament to be generic. We can see how those things can unify us. Specifically, if we see our brother in quote-unquote bondage, we should do something to try to redeem him. We see different ways of how we can raise a household, understanding rights of inheritance, how to set up different ways of working our finances, different ways of identifying who your brother is, specifically who is for you and against you. And that's a big thing why you can get away from a lot of racism, because you can tell who's for you and against you by who adheres to the law, statutes, and judgments, as well, you know, for us being Messianic, who will adhere to the teachings of the Messiah. But we understand that if we can get into that word and really read it, and I feel a lot of us really don't take the time to read it, go back, parse it, understand where the Hebraic idioms come from, the culture of Hebrews. If we was to really get into that, we would see a lot of our own culture in that, and figure out how we could unify. So that's why I wanted to be clear. I believe that we can't. That is the things that are needed to unify our community, because it is so specific on how we deal with certain things in this world.
And I apologize. Is this Sister Doris?
Yeah, that was Doris there. That was Doris.
Yeah, I apologize, Sister Doris. I didn't understand your question. I apologize for that. I pretty much agree with what my brother was just expounding on. I agree 100% with him. The Bible, and from my belief, is the one, and I know a lot of people don't like this, but people say we shouldn't have to look through a book to find out how to be human beings. But we believe that this book is a witness of the Most High God. It is His witness, and this is why we refuse to debate certain people. We just tell them, look, you believe it, you believe it. You don't, you don't. Ain't my problem. And but I do agree that the Bible is one way of coming back into the image, or coming back to the Most High and doing it according to His way, because if He is the Creator, then that's the problem with society. We're not doing it based on how the Creator sees fit. And when it comes to being an Israelite, I think there's a big misconception. I'm not talking about the House of Consciousness. I'm talking about overall as Hebrews. I think we need to examine and to relook and to understand what it means to be an Israelite, and according to how the Most High see fit, not what a bunch of Negroes call it. And another thing, I think that when it comes to Torah, we need to understand what Torah is according to how the Most High called it, not what a bunch of Negroes think. Mm-hmm. But how the Most High calls it, because He is the Creator, and Torah comes from Him, and being an Israelite is something that He spoke into existence. So my thing is that as Israelites or Christians or whatever we personify to call ourselves, we most definitely have to come to terms on how the Creator sees fit. And I think that's the problem with everybody. Rather you be this or that or that or this or whatever, we are always using our flesh, or we're trying to appeal to our flesh or the way of man, like it says in the prophet. My ways, when the Most High said it himself, he said, my ways are not your ways, and my thoughts are not your thoughts. And the problem is that we're continuously trying to present the Most High, or we're trying to promote him based on our way of thinking, especially us who live over here in the Western world that is big time and has a heavy influence of Greece and Rome. And then I'm a fallback, Sal.
And then can I just put one more button on this?
Real quick, because we got to bring some people in. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
All right, just so people can understand why, another reason why, is if you look at the trauma that we have from slavery, and if you understand how this thing works genetically, it gets passed down from person to person to person. And if you can understand that, then you can go through and see what happened in them curses. But you can also go through and see what happens if you are able to keep Torah, and why the Most High says He'll bless, up to 1,000 generations. He'll just continue to bless because it'll be a mindset that takes forward.
All right, family. Once again, our number is 319-527-6239. Now listen to Debate Talk Radio. Topic of the day: Hebrew representatives at the House of Consciousness 2018. What do you think? I got some notifications that a few people that are part of the House of Consciousness are checking out the show. We appreciate you. We're going to bring them in the conversation very soon. And like I said earlier, for those that are Hebrew Israelites that's been on the House of Consciousness, you can call in and say your piece. But if you want to stay with us and answer some of the people's questions directly, you have that option. You can do so. But let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to this brother right here. You already know when you hear the phrase, no coward. When you hear that phrase, no coward, you know what that means. All right, my brother Tazaryach. I think you did press number 1. You got to press it again, my brother. Tazaryach. Yeah, I think you pressed number 1 and got off the switchboard. But, yeah, man, he hit me up behind the scenes. Okay, here we go. Here he is. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, what's going on, man? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's happening, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? I've seen the topic of the show, so I wanted to call in and add my little 2 cents to it, I guess, as far as the Israelites' impact in the conscious community. I think from an Israelite perspective, regardless of what organization they call themselves, I think we've been like what's needed in what you would call the conscious community. I myself don't necessarily consider myself part of the conscious community, but I understand the need for saying it. But I think what we bring to the table is something that I believe the brother said earlier about fixing the black household. I think he took it all the way back to the garden, which he was correct. I think you need that structure. Like whatever we have as far as living, we have to have guidelines, we have to have bylaws, we have to have instructions. And I believe that they can't really necessarily come from somebody like myself. Like I can't give laws, meaning my laws may be personal. We have to have something that will not allow us to be personal, force us to be brothers with brothers, sisters with sisters, mothers with mothers, something that the black household has been lacking, since we've been in this captivity. So I think from an Israelite perspective, I believe we're much necessary and much needed, and we're the ones that, if anything, has brought about more unity amongst the whole entire conscious community. If you think about it, recently saw a sit-down between Divine Prospect and Zion Lexx. Zion Lexx comes from an Old Testament background. Prospect comes from an Old and New Testament background, but they're able to sit down and have their discord, amicably. You know what I mean? So you don't really see a lot of the Israelites doing too much, but we do bring something that is needed. So I think we're a breath of fresh air. I think without the Israelites in the conscious community, there almost wouldn't be none, because we kind of force us to be unified. And that's just from my short time. I haven't been in it long. But from my short time being in the conscious community, the brotherhood that the Bible forces us to be has really been what's fixed it. So it's not necessarily about me. It could have been anybody. I'm not really that special. The scriptures say we boast in the Most High all day. And it's because of that, which is how you know it's about the Most High, His laws, and the children of Israel. above anything. So I just wanted to add my 2 cents. Sorry about that. I just wanted to add my 2 cents as far as what I feel the Israelites have had on the conscious community.
Yeah, I know it sounds you outside. Yeah, but again, have any questions? Go ahead.
Brother Tazaryach, this is Brother B.A. out of Sacramento, California, my brother. Much love to you. One thing I would say about you, my brother, is that it was individuals like you that made me tune in to the conscious community. Like I was saying earlier, it was your fire, and it was your passion, and it was the intensity. I never heard nobody, when I first came into this walk, I've been in, even before I started watching YouTube videos. I've been knowing I was an Israelite since the 90s. My uncle used to preach that to me from an Islam perspective. But watching brothers like you hold the Bible and just deliver, man, that was powerful, brother. I had never seen nothing like that before. So it was brothers like you and a few others who Sanetter had implemented on his platform that brought me to the House of Consciousness, that made me want to watch it because, like you said, the Hebrew brothers who are there have played an influential part in the growth of the House of Consciousness to this day. A lot of people may not agree with that, but it's brothers like you, Zion Lexx, Priest Daniela, and a few others, and who are responsible for the Hebrew presence in the conscious community and on the internet, and me watching from a distance. Much love, and I appreciate it, my brother, and shalom.
That's right. And if I could respond, if anybody want to know the proof of the impact of the brotherhood that the Israelites have brought, just look at anything that's done without the Israelites, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You see the other brothers, whether they be in Kemet, Morris, or whatever, they're usually arguing and bickering, fussing back and forth. You don't see too much of that from Israelites doing that arguing, bickering, back and forth within that conscious community. Now, there are some times when we do it. I'm not saying that we're not doing it at all, but not at the consistent level. Our thing is more so repenting, serving the Most High, following them laws, which is why we were destroyed in the first place, and that's what makes it important. And then hearing a brother like yourself saying, hearing me, and like I said, it could have been anybody. It didn't have to be me. I know y'all mentioned other Israelites as well, is the proof why. Like a lot of people would say we shouldn't be in the conscious community. It's a waste of time to be in the conscious community. That's nonsense. Israelites should be on whatever platform will get the word of the Most High out. If it's Sinetter's platform, if it's BET, MTV, CNN, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever will get the Lord's word out, that's exactly what we're supposed to use, because our brothers aren't just scattered in North, Central, and South America. They're scattered in Africa. They're scattered in Asia. They're scattered in Europe. We're scattered in the four corners. So we have to get that word out to the nation of Israel. And brothers like yourself is the proof that what we're doing is the right thing to do. So, like I said, I wanted to chime in. I do have to step away for a second for maybe 15 minutes, but I can call back if anybody got any questions for me. Sal, you could just message me and let me know if they do. I'll be glad to take whatever questions they have.
All right, no problem. Just call back in if anything, and we'll bring you back in. I got you.
Yeah, I'll stay on. I can stay on till exactly 9 o'clock, and then I have to drop off till about 9:20, and then I can call back in.
Captain Tazaryach.
Yeah.
Shalom, Mark. This is Anonymous Hebrew. I just wanted real quick. I just wanted to tell you thank you for what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like much like brother BA. You know what I'm saying? Like to see it from your home. You know what I'm saying? To see a brother out there just like I said, unapologetically Hebrew.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We appreciate that. So one quick question I just wanted you to do kind of, because a lot of people kind of get the negativity of the camps and the videos on the corners, and they think that that's all y'all do. I know that y'all do more than that. One, I'm going to get some of that beard oil. But two, if you can, if you could just real quick run down to the people some of the things that y'all doing in the community, so that way people in our community could understand that it's more than just standing on the street corner yelling at people.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, what we do offer classes, like just the yelling part, a lot of people got to understand the reason why we're yelling outside is because we're outside. So you're trying to project your voice, as loud as it could be. So it comes across as yelling, but it's really not. If you come to our classrooms, then we ain't yelling as much because, it's a little bit more personal. But we do have classes pretty much in every city that we're in the United States. We also have food drives where we give food to homeless people. We'll also send care packages, like if a brother or sister doesn't have food or can't get no food, we'll get that to them. We also visit prisons. We go into prison systems. We've actually have raised brothers up as Israelites in prisons. We're trying to get into the female prison. Now, they probably won't let us men in there, but some of our sisters may be able to get in there. So we go visit prisoners. We write prisoners. We put something on their books, try to get them to turn from that. We do offer GED programs. That's mainly from our D.C. location, trying to get it into the New York location as well. Drug rehab programs, which are different than the normal ones because, of course, we use the Bible as a background. So those are some of the things that we do, and we do counseling. We do counseling for child molestation, child molested victims. We do counseling. We do marriage counseling. We do personal counseling. I get calls all times a day from brothers and sisters that, may need help. And we keep it to ourselves, which is the most important thing because that counsel comes from the Most High. So those are some of the things that we do. So like you said, a lot of people see us, like yelling and stuff like that, as they call it, but they don't understand what we do. And if I could just add, the courageous effort that it even takes to do what we do on the streets is something that's amazing. You got to imagine, you got black men dressed in Israelite garbs, which people have called us Power Rangers, superheroes, Halloween costumes. We get ridiculed to no end. But we're on a microphone, sometimes around drug dealers, around white people, around every nation that you can find, against every obstacle. The police don't like us out there. And we're trying to get black people to repent. I think that is the most courageous thing that you could find from black men. And then these black men that are doing it were the same ones that were at one time the drug dealer on the corner, or the woman abuser, or the cat that was getting his woman to get abortions, or left his family and didn't take care of them. So these are all men that come from those same walks of life. So to see these men, instead of ridiculing them for yelling, they really should be applauded, because no one is doing that. No one is on that corner where our people are. Like, our people aren't necessarily in the house all the time. We go on them street corners. We try to find the most busiest intersection that we can find where our people will be at, and we try to get them to repent. Now, you tell a black person to get a microphone, tell black people to stop getting high. Tell a drug dealer you should put to death for dealing drugs. Stop, beating on your woman. Woman, stop, put some clothes on. Now, you tell me what average black man is going to do that. That's an amazing thing, and that's the most powerful thing that the Lord has given us, the strength to love black people, because that's an anomaly today. And so I think that should be applauded by all the brothers that's on the corners.
One more quick question.
It's almost 9 o'clock.
What is
Tazaryach?
One quick question. One more quick one. Just one more quick one. What do we do, or what should we do if we disagree with some of the things that you're doing? What's the best way to go about handling that with y'all, so we can, if somebody wants to deal with y'all in private?
That what you just said is the answer. I've told countless brothers, be it Israelites, those Israelites that y'all mentioned, Israelites that ain't mentioned. I've said it countless times. The most valuable thing that we have is privacy for things like that. Like, I don't have to be on the camera ever, to be honest. If anybody knows anything about me, I really only had one actual debate, and that was with Polite. Everything else was really on the street for the most part. A couple of sit-ins, but I've only had one actual debate where I made people come in and actually see me. Everything else that I've done has been lecture-based, whether it be child molestation, homosexuality, miseducation of the black woman, to name a few. But anybody can contact me, and if you got a disagreement, we can work it out behind the scenes, and then we can come out publicly and say, me and this brother had this disagreement, or me and this organization had this disagreement. The perfect example that I could give of that is Irritated Genie. Irritated Genie is a brother that comes from the Kemetic walk of life. And when that situation happened with Africa Bambaataa, that brother contacted me, and we said, we're going to put our differences aside and deal with child molestation. Now, what he and I was hoping would happen is that the conscious community would see that you can have two people from two different organizations. Like, he got his Straight Black Pride organization. I got H.O.K, two totally different walks of life. But these brothers, because of child molestation, had a common goal and was able to unite for that.
And we are the example, like that brother and myself are the example that you don't have to put your personal beliefs in the way of joining black people together. So H.O.K is more than willing to do that. It's just that not many organizations are willing to do that with us. Now, I do have to roll, but I'll be back about 9:20, Sal. I'll message you again and let you know when I'm coming back on.
All right, man. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you
All
calling.
right, that's right. All right,
Much love, Ark.
All right,
Shalom,
family,
Mark.
once again, we open up the phone lines to anybody could call in. The number is 319-527-6239. Hebrew Representatives at the House of Consciousness, 2018. The topic is, what do you think? All right, so we're going to go to the people out there. We're going to go to the family, see what you guys got to say. Let's go to 870-317. You're live.
Peace, what up, y'all? This is Real Doctrine, the one and only. You know, I've been in that H.O.K. doing things in the past, you know, but I guess I ain't the one to talk to right now. People supposed to ask questions or whatever, or you gonna, you know, let me represent, talk or whatever. You let me know.
Yeah, you can say your piece. What you think about the House of Consciousness as far as the Hebrew Israelites are concerned. Okay.
Oh, well, from what I've heard from a couple callers and stuff, you know, some of the stuff has been right and exact. But y'all know me, I'm a person that's always gonna keep it 100, you know. So for us, the House of Conscious, it was never a place for Israel. I'm gonna say Israel. I ain't even gonna deal with the Hebrew Israelite thing, but Israel. You know, even what the Hebrew Israelites was doing on the street, if that was effective, that was effective. The things they was doing on YouTube and stuff, you know, God can work without, you know, that Sinetta influence and stuff. But seeing that he been working with the Sinetta influence and everything, you know, as I tell Sinetta now, you a servant of God, because he made the video with Captain Tazaryach and stuff and was saying, look, he watched me and watched H.O.K, and now he's in H.O.K and he's the captain and stuff. So it's like, okay, all this sounds good. But we know Nebuchadnezzar was the servant of the Lord God. And he wasn't there to bring no good and blessings, nothing good and blessings to Israel and stuff. So my personal opinion is Israel never should be in there. They should have never dealt with them. But since they did deal with them, if you just look at the history of it, people say they won debates in which they didn't win. And the ones that they did win, they never got credit for it in a sense. You know, Captain Tazaryach was talking about brotherhood. You know, I was in there. All them Hebrew War Machine brothers never showed brotherhood to me, because y'all know I pretty much come out the Israel of God, which teach totally different than the One West camps and stuff. They never showed love. They hated, you know what I'm saying? They say I want a Hebrew Israelite, which I never said I was a Hebrew Israelite, but that's like saying I'm not Israel, based up on the same Deuteronomy 28 curses that all of us pretty much agree upon, use as the blueprint to say we the physical Israelites because we were scattered, abundance and all of that. So a lot of this stuff that they portray and propaganda that they put on is lies and stuff. You know, when you seen them with the Hebrew War Machine, Old Testament, New Testament, this and that, Zion Lexx attacked the New Testament. This is when him and Gorilla Hebrew went at it. Shout out to Gorilla Hebrew. Y'all know he was over here at Debate Talk before you went over there. Then eventually I followed them over there. But, you know, so people don't go for the propaganda and make it seem like, you know, the House of Conscience is a great place and they drop good knowledge and this and that. Nah, that's not the truth. And the Brotherhood of Israel over there, nah, that's not true. Because, like I said, the Hebrew War Machine was formed, did they thing. They even created Maccabees TV to say, well, Sinetta not doing us right. He's cutting us out. He's letting Polite do this and do that. And at the end of the day, they created Maccabees TV. It was hard to get, you know, support and stuff with Maccabees TV. It's kind of doing this thing now, but nobody's sitting down building that platform for Israelites to go over there on Maccabees TV and get a light or get a shine. in the public and stuff. I never been on Maccabees TV. That's, once again, show you how hateful brothers are. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, man, they ain't taught the world much. They put themselves in a position to be more of a BIE target, Black Hebrew Israelites. Sinetta most definitely is one of the first platforms that started the campaign that Israel was not Israel, that the Bible was nothing to be dealt with, and all the things that the Christian apologists basically jumped on, Vocab Malone and all of them. They jumped on all of that stuff, ran with it, and now you have the Christian apologetic community really jumping on them and really going at them and trying to debunk, Deuteronomy 32:28 and anything that say you Israel, So I don't think it's a good look, man. That was the first place that we got attacked and dogged on big numbers and allowed the community and the public and stuff to see us, in the light that they currently looking at us in. So that's the way I'm going to say it after that. I'll take any questions or whatever. And y'all can say I'm a hater because I do hate what has been transpiring over the years. I brought the Bible as the best tool for our liberation to the table. Now they over there talking about is the church, can the church liberate us and stuff. So I got a lot of historical moments over there. I got a lot of disappointments over there in Israelites and everything else. But I'll take any questions or whatever. But I would say I'm a hater too. So if you want to come with that angle, it's cool.
I was it's funny
you have any questions for the brother?
I don't got no questions. I just wanted to, I guess come in and say a little bit. I want to make it clear. I don't think nobody right now on Debate Talk for You is just saying that Sinetta's platform is the best platform for our people. I don't think that that's what anybody is saying. With the topic we're talking about is Hebrew Israelites, or if you want to say Israel, and I try to use the same vernacular that all my brothers use, so I consider you my brother. And I watched a lot of your work, so I know a lot of what you feel and what you teach and how you feel about. It's alarm. I know a lot about, what you feel about H.O.K. I'm gonna say this, just in terms, because I think Tazaryach said it best. I don't think that. Well, I don't know, because I don't know what they was talking about behind the scenes. But I don't think a lot of Israelites was just going there just to go there. I think it's something that evolved. And in that situation, I do think it ended up helping a lot of people. Because I would say for me, I learned about different people because of that platform. Now, that don't mean I sit back and watch the platform. That don't mean that I rock with what Polite do. I don't got nothing good to say about Polite. That's just me. Other people may. I don't got nothing good to say about it. So I would just say, and we have used it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we have used it. I agree. Probably some more support should go to Maccabees TV. But also I think everything happens for a reason, and the Most High is doing what He's doing. So I would just say, while I agree that the platform is not the best platform because it does not always you can easily tell that a lot of times it'll edit a lot of stuff out and portray.
But just the divisiveness of the Hebrew Israelites that's been on there. Like I didn't have to do shows where I'm like Sinetta TV Hebrew Israelites because it's like he'll big up ISUPK. And say the other Israelites ain't nothing if you ain't done a General Yohana quoting Tazaryach them, right? Then, at times he just made Zion Lexx the man, but Zion Lexx the man and this and that. He'll say divine this and that, right? So like me, I had the first Hebrew on Hebrew or Israelite on Israelite debate on there, me and Mikha'el Edwards. Now, I smashed Mikha'el Edwards on that debate. Made him even denounce the New Testament. The dude went crazy. He became a Satanist in the debate, pretty much. All the pleas I never, right? Then, I asked Divine for a debate over there. Couldn't get a debate with him, but he just had a debate with Zion Lexx over at Jabari House in the Kemetic community and stuff like that. So it's like, if we supposed to be brothers, and I'm that dude on the road and got jumped, beat up and everything, where's my good Samaritan at? You know what I'm saying? Where's these?
I mean, I feel you, but this is what I was taught as a kid growing up. And I'm just going to be honest with you, because I believe in shooting straight with my brothers. So since we're having a conversation, I'm just going to be honest. If you want to be friends, you got to make yourself friendly at times, right? And so what happens is a lot of times, and I'll speak from just watching, it comes across very contrarian. It comes across very hard to have a good, solid build with you, because it gets very it turns into something that is contrary. It turns into a lot of strife at times. And I'm not speaking for nobody else. I'm just speaking for myself. Like, I would love to build with you. My thing is, like, okay, if I say something that Israel Doctrine don't believe in, it may turn into a 3-hour contrary debate about 3 or 4 verses. And sometimes that just gets hard, because we fighting against everybody else. We fighting so hard against the rest of this world. We're fighting against the Tanakh on Torah only. Then we fighting against the Commissions. Then we fighting against the Moors. So it's hard to have to go through that same type of struggle with your brothers sometimes. I would just say that from my perspective. I won't speak to nobody else. And I do. I watch your work.
Yeah, I don't really know who you are, but, I mean, much love to you. I mean, I'm the most reasonable dude in the room until people try to get crazy and disrespectful and stuff, because it is that we should be able to sit down and talk. But now it's called being reasonable and unreasonable. Now, we see, like, if I'm talking to somebody about the Bible, and then you want to go grab, outside sources, you want to try to say the Bible not sound, and this and that and that, you might as well be a Kemetic brother. You might as well be a Moorish American or Nubian or something, because it's like, one thing we supposed to agree upon is this is the sound word of God, yes or no? You see what I'm saying? And then from that case, you let the Bible speak, and you let the scriptures hold the most weight in the conversation.
Can I say something real quick, brothers? This is B.A. I'll say this much. I can when it comes to Carl or Israel Doctrine, me and you, we kind of dialogue in the past on the Google Hangouts. I can most definitely agree with you from what I've witnessed at times. This is something I'm pretty sure you may have experienced, because I have experienced it, and I'm not going to say no names or know who it is. But there have been, as all Bible believers, whether we be Christian or whatever, I have witnessed, and I'm not talking about knowing from the House of Consciousness, but I'm just talking about overall different people, different doctrines. I have seen Bible believers team up with people who hate the Bible and go to war with other Hebrews or other Bible believers. And one thing about it, I have personally witnessed that with you, Israel Doctrine. I have witnessed other Bible believers who you know personally who have attacked you personally as well, and teamed up against you with unbelievers who constantly curse and disrespect the Bible. So what you're talking about, bro, I most definitely can agree with you, because I have witnessed it myself. We don't have to say no names. You know who they are. And one thing about it, publicly on Facebook or wherever other social media platform brothers have, they're so holier than thou nowadays. So I most definitely know what you're talking about, and I'm going to just fall back.
Yeah, stand by Israel Doctrine. I'm bring you back on. I just got to get some other people in the conversation. Again, that number is 319-527-6239. Like I said, it's an open forum, family. Anybody can call in. Hebrew representatives at the House of Consciousness 2018. What do you think? Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to 718-954. You're live in air.
Hello. Shalom. Can you hear me clear?
You're loud and clear.
All right, this is Brother Zion Lexx. Thank you, Sal, for asking me to come on the show tonight. It was a little unexpected. I didn't know you was having a show, more particularly on this particular topic. And I definitely wanted to get in and, share a couple of thoughts. Before I open up saying anything, I want to say first and foremost, giving all honor and praise to the Creator, the Holy One of Israel. Without Him, none of us are anything. Thank the Creator for waking us all up. We may have woken up on different sides of the track, both literally and figuratively, but the idea is that we woke up. And I think that the reason that we woke up is that this nation is needed to be gathered together. So, again, I want to acknowledge the Most High and the Most High only for waking us up and giving us the strength to even be aware that we are the children of Israel, to be aware that the condition that our people are in here in America, the Caribbean, and other parts of the world is directly due to our disobedience in the law, statutes, judgments, and commandments of the Creator. And it is our job as men and women of the Creator to speak these truths to our people that we may liberate the mind, the soul, and the body of our people.
All right, once again, Zion Lex, we appreciate you calling in. I know you said you can't stay too long. So, brothers, you have any questions for Zion Lex? Go ahead.
Yeah, shalom, to you, brother Lex, brother B.A. out of Sacramento, California. We spoke once before. It was on In the Black Media a couple of years back. And I would just like to say, brother, even before that conversation, I was aware of who you were when you came on the platform when the Kibbutz on trial with the Hebrew War Machine. And even though, you know what I'm saying, you being Torah observant, most definitely, my brother, I've always learned and come to appreciate and respect you as a man first, and then as a man of God and the Most High. And just the information you bring out has been potent. It's a good delivery when it comes to the Assyrian chronology and when it comes to just African history, period. It's a lot of things that I have gleaned from you that I see that is accurate, and I just would like to say I've always appreciated your knowledge and the things that you have shared with our community, and I respect and I love your passion for our people. And like I said, I'm out here on the West Coast, so I speak for a lot of brothers out here who know who you are based on seeing you on the YouTube videos. A lot of brothers, they support you whether we rock with Christ or not. A lot of brothers out here support you. The Most High willing, man, we can get you to come out to the West Coast and definitely share some information when it comes to that history. And much love to you.
Thank you very much. If I may be able to respond to you, I heard you earlier speak from the very beginning as I joined the show from its inception, and I want to thank you for acknowledging our dialogue. You have quite a memory because that definitely was at least 2 years ago, but, you valued it enough that you remembered it, and I do recall it as well. So, I share in that moment with you. We had a brotherly moment. It didn't matter that, I spoke of being Torah-centered, and you spoke of being fully book-centered, if I may throw a little humor in there. At the end of the day, I don't even like some of the terms that you brothers also reject. I don't like the term non-messianic, and I don't even like the term messianic because at the end of the day, we all believe in the coming of Mashiach. This is that some of our brothers believe that he came already and will return, and some of us believe that he hasn't come yet. So I think there's that misnomer of labeling one side messianic and non-messianic, that definitely creates a divide because people automatically is going to pick a side, and that's a dividing line. I don't like that. Number two, I want to say that I really appreciate the direction of the dialogue. Of course, I heard my good brother Israel Doctrine get on and shake it up a little bit. I appreciate that too. But one thing I want to say with regard to some of the things that Brother Israel Doctrine said is that, to speak about your view on something is not necessarily and always an attack on something. I have done lectures at a temple that I come from in Brooklyn, New York, known as Shema Israel. I've done lectures there on Isaiah 53. It's all on YouTube. And I spoke about why I disagree with some of the logic behind Yeshua, or some of our brothers refer to as Yahawashi being the Mashiach. I've spoken on why I disagree with that. But, to speak on disagreeing on something and to attack is two different things. And I don't ever think I attacked the New Testament doctrine. As a matter of fact, brothers that know me in the Messianic community, that know me personally, know that a lot of my thoughts on Yeshua or Yahawashi is drastically different from a lot of the brothers who call themselves non-Messianic. I just had a dialogue with Divine Prospect live on Sunday TV where I said I don't believe there's enough evidence as far as I've overlooked and analyzed to say that Yahawashi never existed. I come from a community that will tell you plain as day he's as fake as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which is very disrespectful, and I get it. But guess what? I don't agree with that. I'm a free thinker. I think that he certainly walked the earth. I think that a lot of what he said was revolutionary, But there are aspects of the story that I may disagree with. So I think the more that people get to hear my genuine views on that particular book, I think the more that people appreciate my outlook. It doesn't even have to mean I'm right, but I think people will appreciate my outlook. At the end of the day, we are all Torah-centered, because I know that's another name that we get as quote-unquote non-messianics, the brothers that are Torah-centered. I'm hoping that we all Torah-centered, because that's what we all supposed to be. So I don't even like that name, because I've met messianics that are more Torah-centered than some messianic brothers I've known for 20, 30 years. And that's real talk. And I've never been a person to shy away from speaking that real talk. I've met messianics recently that are more Torah-centered than quote-unquote non-messianics that I know 26 years now. So let me keep that all the way 100.
Yeah, shalom, Mike. This is Anonymous Hebrew. I ain't never got to speak with you, but your work is very influential. You know what I'm saying? To I feel to the community, it's definitely been influential in my life. So I want to first thank you for that. I want to thank you for what you just spoke about when you came out on that lecture with Brother Divine, and said at least that you didn't see enough evidence to say that Yeshua, Yahushua, Yahweh didn't exist. And I know what that means for you and your community. So for that, I do applaud you. I just had one quick question for you. After watching you and Brother Divine sit down and have a very amicable discussion about something as controversial as henotheism and monotheism, is there a way that you see, because you have way more years in this community than me, is there a way that you see that brothers that believe in the New Testament Mashiach and brothers that are still waiting for the Mashiach, is there a way that you see that we can start to unify and truly build this nation where we can sit down and do things like what you and Brother Divine did, rather than get on YouTube and make videos destroying each other's character?
I appreciate that. And to add on that last point, before I address your first point, I want to say this. There have been various Hebrews in the community that I have not had the best relationship with on camera. The likes of some have been, and I want to exemplify past tense, have been Captain Tazaryach, who I could be so genuine in this moment to tell you that me and this brother speak from time to time, off camera, man to man, phone, on the phone mostly, and I mean we get along fine, great. In fact, he called me today to laugh about what was called my fishnet pants on front of the TV the other day. You know what I mean? So me and the brother have definitely built a great relationship where he could call me and jive on me or get on me, laugh at me for that. But one thing I want to make clear is that I do have a YouTube channel, as some people out there may know. If you go on my channel, there's one thing that you might notice that might garner a little bit more respect for what I do. I come at Kemet hard because they disrespect the Bible. I come at Kemet hard because they disrespect our culture and our heritage. I've come at certain Hebrews hard, but you can't find no video, Zion Lexx, going against a Hebrew in a disrespectful way on my channel. It doesn't even exist. Because my thing is, no matter how much we disagree, at the end of the day, we Israel, we Israelites. We got to get it together. We are commanded to have unity among one another. That's not even an option. We are commanded to pursue unity with one another. So I might have disagreements with Hebrews, but I never once went and made a video and said, Zion on Mikha'el Edwards. Mikha'el Edwards got about 8 to 9 videos on me. I ain't got a single video that say Zion Lexx and Gorilla Hebrew. That's my brother. We amicable now, but even he himself got several videos on his channel against me. And, that's water under the bridge because we got over it, but I'm still stating the point. If you go on my channel, you'll see teachings about Torah, and you'll see me smashing down them Kemet dudes. And I think all Israelites should be more focused on that because we're going to always have disagreements as humans first, as men second, and within the nation of Israel third. The litmus test of genuine unity is how you show your difference of opinion with your brother before that camera. Never let people see you disrespect your brother on camera. And by your brother in this moment, I mean in particularly the nation of Israel. So in my dialogue with Divine Prospect, I think I did a very good job, and I think he did a tremendous job of holding back, in a sense, of how we can bring it, just because we acknowledge we are talking to our brother. You understand?
And that's so I won't talk about the other debate, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I was with you. That's all I'm saying. I was with you. So,
I don't mind you bringing up the other debate. By the way, if you even if you wanted to chime in and critique in some of the statements that I made, about Jabari, especially about manhandling him, I don't mind that. I'm always prepared to give people more insight behind what I do or what I have done.
Here's why, and I want to make this clear. I don't support African on Africans, getting at each other. But I will say that there comes a time when people get fed up with being sunned, and I'm just gonna put it out there like that. And there is and I agree with you with everything that you said, that there is a level of blatant European style disrespect, and I think a lot of people don't understand that because they haven't been in the universities, right? So they haven't sat in the rooms with Europeans that think that they're smarter than you. So they don't understand that backsided compliment / like they said, stick the sword in, take it out. Stick the sword in, take it out. So I understood completely where you were coming from. The only thing I would say is you got brothers out there that's ready to jump out the window for you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so at some time we got to remember, like, man, we are the wiser nation out of all of these nations, because we actually know who we worship. We know what we're doing. And there may be some divides, but I think we all agree, like you said, in Torah. So,
right.
But I was with you. I'm not even going. I ain't even sugarcoat. So
I respect that, and I want to say this with regard to my dialogue with Jabari. If I could get this out just for a second, because I definitely have it on my mind to speak. This is my first time ever sharing my opinions post that dialogue, so I want to share it here first. And say that there was a lot of things said off camera that people aren't hearing that led up to me finally having an outburst. Divine Prospect, I'm going to use as a witness in this moment, knows that when I spoke and when I spoke alone, the camera shut off twice and the mic shut off 4 times. Mind you, that mic was being passed to 5 people at 5 different times. And every time I grabbed the mic and happened to be saying something semi-powerful, started would say, hold on, I got to change the battery on the camera. Then he would say, hold on, your mic. There's only about so many times that could happen to one person and one person alone until you start feeling that he's back to his old ways again. Even Garfield in the dialogue says, Sana, that you're giving Zion Lexx reason to feel like, you're doing something, even though we know you're not. What's going on? And Devon started laughing because they understood what was building up within me, this kind of frustration. So there was even a point where Jabari said, move the chair from the from the wall as I was speaking.
Right.
And on top, I mean, this is on top of the fact that they kept interrupting me for the mic. So, yes, you saw me lash out in a way that kind of seemed like, damn, Zion, he just asking you to move his chair so you don't scratch the man nice walls. But people don't understand it was a build-up that led to that. It's like, can you imagine pouring liquid in a cup? You keep pouring, you keep pouring, you keep pouring. When you get to the very top, it takes a little bit to make that spill over. So the people saw the little bit, didn't see the little bit, they just saw what spilled over. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Now, I do have some reservations about certain things that I said and did when it was really turned up. Like, for instance, Garfield tried to grab my hand or, like, gesture towards me, but then he gestured back. Even I pulled back. A brother from Black Ice TV, tall brother like Tazaryach, tried to grab my hand. I slapped his hand and put my hand in front of him and said, what you going to do? Because at that moment, we all know that when it looks like it's going to be a fight, the person that don't know you and is friends with the guy you're about to fight is the wrong person that should be grabbing you. Because at that moment, you feel like you're holding me so he could give me the licks. Right or wrong? I mean, we talking street rules. I'm from the street. Like, I'm pretty sure most of us are. And I think the number one comment that I kept encountering, because I was there literally eating popcorn, having fun at the comments, because I know these guys are all hypocrites. They really don't care. People like to see, as they say, the NIGGER stuff. And a lot of them are hypocrites. So I was really just sitting there watching the hypocrisy, because at one hand they'll say that this wasn't good, but look at the viewership it's getting. It's entertaining to them. Look at the viewership that me and Seti's so-called fight had. It's entertaining. It's one of the most watched stuff. So all these people talking about this is bad for the community, in my opinion, I don't want to fully say the word on the South show, but, you know, they full of BS, because they really do want to see it. But the reservation that I have is that I didn't see a need to get physical with Brother Jabari, because he's not your man's man. And I'm going to just say it like it is. Period. And I think we all understand that. I don't even have to expound upon that. I don't get, as we say in New York, you don't get no cool points for that. You know what I mean? But it was the point that he kept using language that was bringing me closer and closer to disrespecting him personally. So if you notice, I said to him initially, brother, you need to chill, because, like, the way you're moving right now, like, you're gonna force me to disrespect you. I feel like you're disrespecting me. And, you know, he kept pushing the envelope. And where I come from at that point, it's like, it's either you check him, you know, or you move yourself in a situation. So as you see, the first thing I do is not to get up and hit the man. I got up and grabbed my bag, because I'm thinking, you know, let me get out. Because at that point, I will agree, I'm hot-headed. You know what I mean? I fought in my earlier stages of my life a lot. You know, I even boxed professionally. A lot of people don't know that. And you would think that I have some discipline as a boxer, but most people will tell you that they have boxed professionally. And I mean, like, you know, as far as like Golden Glove type of boxing, we always hype the fight. That's the bottom line. We actually like fighting. So when I seen that part of me coming out, I said, yo, remove yourself, because I automatically seen the jabs that I knew I was going to throw. That's how bad it got. So I said, you know what, let me back up. And I did. And, you know, nothing happened. But, of course, now the new narrative is, because Zion Lexx was losing the dialogue, he just decided to have a turn-up moment. But the reality is, and the fact is, I shared the entire dialogue on my Facebook page and my YouTube, because I'm not afraid to show the people exactly what happened. What I did not show is the actual moment where I stood up, because, like y'all would agree, there's no need for, you know, children to be seeing stuff like that. I have 13-year-old, you know, twin daughters that I wouldn't even want watching that, so I didn't show that part on my page. But I showed the whole dialogue between me and Jabari. I wasn't embarrassed at anything that I said to him. I think I did a hell of a job representing Israel. I think what I did was I put my foot in my mouth when I got up and began to physically challenge him, because in a sense it did erase all of the good work I was putting in up until that point.
Yeah, and just to say one thing to support you, because I think people may feel like you just saying whatever. I'm very observant, right? And so what I noticed is the point that you had made about them purposefully trying to get you off your point. So when they did the chair thing and you lost your point, you specifically said, you know, y'all keep doing this trying to get me off your point, or something to that effect. The first thing out of Brother Jabari's mouth is not, you know what, take your time, gather yourself. What he says is, well, it's easy to do.
Exactly.
If you go back and listen to that was the first thing out of his mouth.
And notice that he told
really
a lie.
spoke volumes.
That sounds like crafty counsel to me, man.
Remember I said that. I remember I stopped him and I said, yo, stop using that language talking about you're going to beat me up. I know he didn't mean physically, but where I'm from, we don't even talk like that as brothers.
We don't even talk like that.
I was like, you don't even talk like that. So I'm like, there's no need for that. You know, and he lied. He said, no, that's not what I said. And everybody put the time marker in there, said, no, when you go back to 344, Jabari, that's exactly what you said. So, you know, Jabari is a very intellectual brother. I want to give credit where credit is due. I think I do try to do it. I don't think people always notice that I do try to give people credit. He's a brilliant brother. You know, my disagreement with him doesn't take anything away from him. In fact, I think it actually made him look good because of how I acted towards the end. But, you know, the brother is an amazing scholar. The brother is an amazing lecturer. But the most important thing I want to exemplify in this moment is that what he's amazing at, is in his lane, which is Kemet. And that be a lot of people problem in the conscious community. A lot of people are amazing in their lane, but when they step outside of their lane to speak almost authoritatively about the lane that others are in, that's where the confusion comes in.
Hey, Brother Zion, I just want to ask you a quick question, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Just real quick. I sat down. I saw you and Sarah Sunseti when you guys were on Sinetter's platform. You guys had a little debate, or you guys had a few words. And man, I would most definitely would love to see you brothers go at it in the debate ring. I also want to see you and Polite go at it finally. See if we can get that. I would love to see that. And in the last, and I'll leave it alone after this. What happened when you set it up to where it's supposed to be you and Harry Rosenberg teaming up against Polite and Sarah Sunseti? Why is it that we didn't see you live at the pay-per-view?
I'm glad you asked that question. So I was told when I entered this community that if I want a one-on-one debate with Polite, I would have to go through, a series of brothers, so to speak. So you saw me debate H.O.K first. That was my first actual House of Conscious debate. And after I debated him, the rule was, or the agreement was between myself, Sonata, and Polite, is if you could get past H.O.K, you're going to debate Polite. Most of the Hebrews agreed that I ran through H.O.K. Of course, Kemet is going to be Team Kemet because we know it's like the Knicks and the Bulls in the 90s. No matter how many times Jordan dunked on Ewing, all the Knicks fans going to say that he didn't get dunked on. That's a fact. So everybody's going to have their favorite man. I know I gave H.O.K that work. I think even H.O.K acknowledges that, hence why he never accepted a round 2, which I offered several times. Now, the Harry Rosenberg debate is funny because Sonata said, okay, Polite's going to debate you. Okay, what he going to debate me on? He's going to debate you on the very existence of God. Oh, okay, I'm down with that. Boom. So we even do a little video promo for it. Boom. So I'm like, all right, wait, time out. What's going on here? And what I mean by that is Sonata called me one day out the blue and was like, hey, what about this guy Harry Rosenberg that got the video with all where he's speaking in a room and he's telling all the white people in the room that black people are possibly the real Jews and we as white Jews are possibly the fake ones. He said, what about that guy? Could you get him to come and debate also? Because we could put SETI on him. So I said, sure, because I was the one that took that video of Harry Rosenberg. Nobody knew about that video that Harry Rosenberg did in his own congregation telling white Jews that black Jews are perhaps more real than them as white Jews. Nobody saw that. I was the first one to take that video and put it online for people that remember. I put it on my Facebook first. I put it on my YouTube. And then after that, people started ripping it left and right to where you couldn't even figure out who originally posted it. Not that I'm trying to get any kind of credit, but I just want to draw people to a specific point so you can understand how this all started. So because Sonata knew it was me that kind of introduced Harry via that video, he said, yo, are you in contact with him? And I said, nah. I said, but I don't think it would be hard because actually I see that I have mutual friends with him on Facebook. So that's what I did. I reached out to a mutual friend who knows him, which is a writer in Nigeria. And the writer in Nigeria messaged him and say, hey, this guy would like to talk to you. And I said, hey, we got a guy who represents a huge conscious platform here in America called House of Consciousness, a.k.a. Sonata TV. He'd like to see you come on and debate. Harry said, I'm not sure. I've never really heard of him. Well, can you send me a video? I sent him a video. He got back to me like a week or so. He's like, okay, I'll consider it. So the deal originally was I'm debating Polite and Harry Rosenberg is debating SETI. Here's how they flip it about a week or two into us setting up a contract. Polite calls me out the blue one evening with Sonata on three-way and says, so me and Harry is going to do the first sit-down. So I said, what you talking about? I thought me and you was debating. Why is Harry sitting down with you? I thought he's debating SETI. Yeah, he still is, but, it's going to be very controversial for people to see me and him in the same room, and I'm going to question him. He said, you even going to like it, King, because I'm going to come at him hard about him thinking he's a Jew. I'm going to rep y'all, which is what a lot of Hebrews ran with, not realizing Polite used the whole thing as a publicity stunt to boost his name and his brand. He could care less whether or not going against him made us look great. He used people's emotions because that's what he's great at doing, and I saw through it. So I said, no, that's BS. I'm not even into it. And I pulled out. And Sonata called me and was like, no, come back in. We still going to have you and Polite, but let's just do it this way. I said, cool. Next thing you know, 2 days before Harry Rosenberg and Polite sits down, they put out a flyer that says, Zion Lexx and Harry Rosenberg versus Polite and Shetty. I said, oh, hell no. I said, I'm on this guy's team? I said, I never agreed to that. Oh, no, come on. It's going to work good. I said, no, that's never going to look good in my community. And I have a brother that I do counsel with. His name is Chief Uziel. A lot of people that follow me may know his name because you've seen him interview me one-on-one so many times online. He told me, he was like, nah, don't go for that. And I won't lie, it was me that decided, you know what, my hatred for Polite was so stern that I said, all right, I'll do it. Then, as history would show you, I actually pulled back. About a week after me saying I'll do it, I pulled back a week after and said, you know what, I can't do it because my heart and my soul said I could never stand with this white man against my brother. Even though the brother I'm going against could put an AR shell through the Bible, I said I still ain't going to sit down with this cat and go against my brother. So as history will show you, here's a couple things I want people to remember. Everybody's going to say Zion Lexx brought Harry Rosenberg into the community, which may or may not be true depending on how you want to look at it. Second thing they're going to say is, oh, he was willing to get on a team with him. Okay, my hatred for Polite was so strong that I considered joining with this guy, which I'm going to definitely take an L for that forever, me personally, but I'm honest enough to admit that. But thirdly and most importantly is, remember, Zion Lexx has actually never met Harry Rosenberg. Sonetta met him, shook his hand on live TV. Polite met him, shook his hand on live TV. You know, every time Harry Rosenberg was in New York, he said he wanted to meet me. And I said, no, never met the man. In fact, in the interim of that week that it took me to figure out that, you know what, don't allow your hate for Polite to join with somebody who's even worse, in my opinion, which I do think Harry is worse. During that week, Harry made so much promises that anybody who follows me on Facebook saw me actually curse him out. And by curse, I mean my mouth to get ugly when I get ready. Curse him out live on Facebook because Harry Rosenberg told me within the week's time for me to figure out that I shouldn't be joining with him. He said, because you decided to do this and I'm like on a team with you, you could tell the Hebrews I'm going to give them a $1 million scholarship. Tel Aviv University. I still got all this saved in my inbox, by the way. Tel Aviv University, so that they could come to school free of charge. I'm like, really? You serious? He's like, yeah, it's going to be through Amari Stoudemire. So I believed it because I know he has a friendship with Amari Stoudemire. Right after Polite's debate, first thing I said to him was, Harry, where's that $1 million? He said, nah, I don't think it's worth it. It doesn't seem like your community likes me. I said, you mother, and I got him on Facebook. But I just want people to know that I never once actually stood with Harry Rosenberg. And even though my hatred for Polite was so great that I did consider it in thought, there's a difference between thought and action. I never followed through with it. And I thank the Creator that I had the spirit or the Ruach not to fall through with it.
Wow. Yeah, because I remember it seemed like that was being promoted, that you brought him into the community and you brothers was close and y'all was going to team up and debate against Polite and Siraj Sunsetti. I do remember that was being promoted.
Right.
And thank you, brother, for clarifying, man, because that was something, because I've been waiting for a long time for you and Polite to get inside the ring.
Right.
I've been waiting on that one, and I would most definitely would love to see you and Siraj Sunsetti go at it again, because especially with Siraj Sunsetti, I think that, in my opinion, I think that would be more of a scholarly debate, because I've seen the debate you had with Nasi. Nasi did a very good job. Even though I've seen Siraj Sunsetti go to work, he does do good work. I most definitely would love to see you guys go at it in a debate. And definitely, man, it'd be very enlightening to see that.
Right. And I'm glad you said that, because when it comes to Seti, me and him are actually, I don't want to say cool, because I don't call him, but literally the night after me and him had our incident, I'm going to call it a scuffle. I ain't going to get too extra right now because I don't think we should be boasting about negative behavior. So I'll say a night after our scuffle, he called me and said, you know what, brother, I apologize for putting you in that space where you felt like you had to come at me as hard as you did. And then I apologize for going as far as, you know, putting my hand physically on him. I apologize for that. And we got over it. That was it. And if y'all remember, him and Pharaoh were supposed to come and debate the Amon Ra squad on whether or not the Medunetta was deciphered. Said he called me and was like, yo, I want you to come down and speak at my lecture in Brooklyn that weekend. But it never happened because some of them never paid for their flights. So a lot of their things got mixed up. So he wound up canceling that with me. But just to show the people that me and him got over our issue, he wanted me to come and open up at his event, which I was willing to do just to show that we as black men, yeah, we had a little scuffle, but we got over it. Because at the end of the day today, to me, it's very important to show that, yeah, we might disagree. It might even get a little violent, but we should never get to the point where we can't repent and break bread again, because that's some real weak stuff when men can't wipe blood and get over whatever they stuff is. I was born in 1979. I'm not that much older than people in the community, but I got a little bit of age on me. I'll be 39 this year and 40 next year, so I'm getting up there as it is. With that being said, I come from the era where no matter how hard you fight somebody, so long as you ain't stab or shoot that person, y'all shall always be able to make up as brothers, period. Anything outside of that is female behavior.
All right, Zion Lexx, man, we appreciate you calling in, my brother. And hopefully
thank
we'll
you very much.
Platform at another time. We got Ron Divine Prospect right after you. We'll bring him on. Any last words you want to say to the family before we move on? Go ahead.
Yes, I definitely want to close out by saying I want to thank Sal for calling me or reaching out to me online. You know, me and Sal, we've had a good relationship in the past. I'm glad that we can build back on it now. Knowing that Divine is about to jump in, I want to say shout out to Divine. That brother is big, bad, and mean in more ways than one. And I think, as I said before on several other platforms, Divine Prospect represents the future of Israel with regard to his methodologies. And I want people, even in the community that I come from, to start paying more attention to his work, because I think the brother does great work. I want to shout out the entire Israelite family, whether we call ourselves Messianic or non-Messianic. I want to leave us and end us with this point. And it may sound controversial, but I think people who resonate with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding will get what I'm saying. There's a reason why in the prophetic books of the Old Testament that the Mashiach is not called by name. We know that Isaiah mentions an Emmanuel. That's it. And we know that other places it says, you know, his name shall be Yahweh is righteous. You know, Yahweh Zidkenu, Yahweh our righteousness, or Yehovah our righteousness, depending on how you pronounce the tetragrammaton of the ineffable name. But one of the things that I like to point out to people is that one of the main reasons I think that the Mashiach is not actually named in the prophecies, we know that his description is replete throughout Scripture. But there's a major difference between his description and role pervading or being replete throughout Scripture and the lack of his actual name being pronounced. Because when you name something, you are identifying him. Why was his identity not exemplified? Why was his role exemplified more than his identity? I think the reason to me is actually clear. Salvation has always been about allegiance to the Creator and obedience to Torah. Yes, we were told to trust in Moses and his word, but at the end of the day, if we did not acknowledge the Creator and follow his laws, there was no liberation for us. And Moses made that very clear. So I want to say to my non-Messianic and Messianic brothers, while we spend so much Uranus time arguing over who the Mashiach is, I would rather see us have great bills on Torah so that at least we can perfect that, and everything else has to fall in place. Hallelujah.
Man, shalom and much love to you, Art. Shalom, man.
Shalom.
All right, man. Once again, that's Zion Lexx. I appreciate you. We're going to go down the line. We're going to get Ron Divine Prosper on the line right about now. All right, so let's go down the line. And again, that number is 319-527-6239. Feel free to call in, family. Press number 1. Want to hear from the audience out there as well. Make sure you chime in. Let's bring around Divine Prospect. Welcome to the show.
Peace and shalom. Thank you, South Showtime, for the last-minute invite so I can jump on the show as well and speak to the family. I want to give all praise to the Most High Yah. I want to thank everybody who called in. Shout out to Brother Tazaryach. Shout out to Israel Doctrine, even though me and him had a little dialogue earlier today. But, I got tough skin. I don't take things personal. But shout out to the brother and the voice that he lended to the platform in regards to his experiences with H.O.K. I want to give a shout-out to my brother Zion Lexx. Me and my brother had a great build last time I signed at the TV, and that's always been a genuine brother despite whatever disagreements we may have. He's always showed love and respect, and I definitely want to give honors to him as well. I also want to thank my brother Mikha'el Ben Yisrael because he's the one that really was reminding me to come on the show. So hopefully he gets his little stay as well because, that brother, he brings it. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, I'll just be brief, and if anybody want to ask me questions, that's cool. But my thing is, when I first came into the H.O.K. community, it was back in 2014, and before I even met Sonnet or anything like that, I was trying to figure out what was missing from that platform that could pretty much help bring it to another level. And that if I was to ever be on that platform, what I would contribute to help it to grow and expand and also reach a much wider audience. And what I realized is that there was a lack of unity, number one, first and foremost, and also that the Hebrew Israelite community didn't really have anybody really putting in any kind of apologetic work to defend the core Hebrew Israelite ideals, values, and position. When I saw Nazi Yashuvel debate SETI, that was also very inspiring as well because the brother Nazi Yashuvel did a great job. I realized that the House of Consciousness platform shifted gears when Polite was introduced to the platform and Polite was used to contend with the Hebrew Israelite community. And I've seen several brothers interface and dialogue with them and, put their perspectives on it. And I was like, man, it has to be a more concrete way to defend, our position and where we stand. So I said, well, if I'm going to go on that platform, I'm going to contribute that, because there's a huge audience that's watching that platform. And it's only fair that they get to see another aspect of the brilliant minds in our community, you know what I'm saying, and the work that we put in order to defend what we stand on and what our position is. So, I first met Sonetta physically at the H.O.K. cookout in 2014. And I had already been teaching prior to that and everything like that, but I just wasn't exposed to the H.O.K. community. And I also saw Tazaryach's debate against Polite as well, and that was also another milestone right there in regards to our community interfacing with the conscious community on that platform. And when I went there, I met Tazaryach for the first time. I met a lot of the captains and individuals in H.O.K. I met Sadnetta, I met Brother Reggie, I met Sankofa, met a couple other people that I've seen on the platform. And, going to events prior to me actually going to that cookout that I've seen at these platforms as well. And, I was taking notes, you know what I'm saying? I was building a rapport, taking notes and so forth. I was contacting Tazaryach and Sonetta before I got to the cookout and trying to build a rapport. When I got there, I just followed up. Now, if you go back on Sonetta's channel and you look up a video at the H.O.K. cookout in 2014 where Imam Bashir and H.O.K is going back and forth, you'll see right before, that happens is a quick maybe 20 seconds of me giving a shout-out to Sonetta, which is interesting because he actually interviewed me for 15 minutes and only took 30 seconds and put it up. And after I spoke with him, he was like, man, brother, I got to get you on this platform. I want you to speak your piece, this, and that. So from there, I built the rapport with him and a couple other people that were around him in regards to, okay, well, how can we add an additional edge to the platform? And when I met Sonetta and I came to his house, I actually helped him set up his camera to do live streams. He wasn't doing live streams for a while. And I helped him set up his live stream setup, and then that's when I did my first lecture on there with the intent to unify the Kemetic and Israelite community, and that was an attempt that I made. What I realized is that, the conscious community is a bit hostile and sectarian, and, people, it's like gangbanging, you feel what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what it was. So I realized, okay, look, the unity thing is good, and I'm going to keep pushing it, but primarily what I'll do is, I'll continue to advance forward as being an Israelite and try to bring subject matter to the platform to enhance its worth or value, the best that I can. And I contributed some good lectures to the platform with the intention of, again, showing a different angle to the Israelite community, that was not previously exposed on Sinetta TV. You know what I'm saying? So, I had a lecture on the Minority Report, which got taken off that platform. I did a lecture on, the true exemplary models and the real definition of as the black woman God. I did that lecture on there, which, again, got taken off on the platform. I did lectures in regards to, economics. I did lectures in regards to the Israelite community and our culture and so forth. So I just wanted to put things on record so that way the audience has a full spectrum view in regards to what's available in the Israelite community and what we have to offer the platform, because the objective is to reach the brothers and sisters that's out there that are curious about what it is that we do and who we are, because we're diplomats at the end of the day. We represent the worldview and the creator in which we act on behalf of. So it was good to get exposure on the House of Consciousness. I did the Kemet on Trial debate as well. And actually my brother Zion Lexx, he was supposed to speak, and unfortunately nobody was able to locate him at that time. And then Azina was telling me, yo, Devon, just go ahead and go. I said, well, let's just wait and see. And then that's when Sinetta cut the time, him and Polite. It's really Polite, and them cutting the time short and almost took away my time from speaking. And Zion Lexx and Danya Allah, who also was supposed to speak, and they didn't get a chance to speak either. But we did the Kemet on Trial. Then after that, we just progressed from there. We did the Exodus Memorial, where Zion Lexx was on there as well. But one quick shout out that I want to say in doing all of this back in 2014, I had encountered Israel Doctrine. I actually reached out to the brother Israel Doctrine because I saw his debate against Dr. Ma'at. And I was in touch with him in regards to a debate he was supposed to have with Sankofa. And I was kind of curious to see how that debate would have turned out, but unfortunately it fell through. But I, intervened in trying to mediate between the two so that way that debate can happen. And unfortunately it never happened. You know what I'm saying? So, and Israel Doctrine was on the line as well, speaking his piece as well in regards to his perspective on H.O.K. And also, like I said, meeting Tazaryach as well, building with Tazaryach. Very genuine brother, you know what I'm saying? Even with our differences, I always have a lot of love for him, as well as Hashan Danya Allah as well. So H.O.K. helped me to meet these brothers from a different perspective, because when I was a Christian, I actually went up to Danya Allah's camp before, I went up to Hashan's camp before, I went up to Zabak's camp before. I never went up to ISBK. But I went up to all these other brothers' camps before, and I've interfaced with them as Christians. But getting on the House of Consciousness as an Israelite, speaking with them was something totally different. You know what I'm saying? So the H.O.K., people may say what they may say about it, but it's exposed a lot of people to a variety of different worldviews and perspectives and information that they previously were not privy of prior. And people say to me sometimes, well, Devon, why do you keep going back on Sinetta House of Consciousness? I said, because you guys don't see the influx of emails that I get and inbox messages I get of people that see the work that we put on the House of Consciousness, and they reach out to us and say, man, bro, I didn't know nothing about that in regards to the Israelite faith, and I didn't know anything about, this information existing, and nobody shared this with me, nobody shared that with me. And there's hundreds of inquiries that flood in as a result of the information we put out on House of Consciousness. So it's doing some good, despite what people may think about it and what they may say about it. It's actually doing some good. So I don't want to take up too much time because I know we're getting encroaching towards the end, but I just wanted to give a little bit of my insight in regards to my interface with House of Consciousness. And again, it hasn't always been, walking walking through the prairie of roses on that platform. You know what I'm saying? I've had my encounters on that platform, had my skirmishes and disagreements on that platform as well. And that comes along with the territory. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have tough skin, then it's going to be very difficult for you to survive in that type of environment. And most people are not built to survive in that environment because, things get the better of them and they're not able to maintain their discipline and their poise. Because when you go on that platform, you have to anticipate the worst is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the first thing I think about in my mind is like the worst is going to happen. The worst is going to happen. And I think that in my mind. So it doesn't matter who I sat down with. I sat down with Garfield. I sat down with and had a bill with Polite. I had a bill with Shaka. I had a bill with Jabari. I had a bill with Amon Ra Squad and Seti and Ankh all by myself. I had a bill with Ankh separately. I had a bill with Seti separately. I had a debate with Ali Muhammad. I mean, everybody just about who had a name on that platform, Imam Bashir, I've actually had a dialogue with, a discussion with, or a debate with. And if you go back on that panel, you'll see that, because I wanted that community to know that we have fearless people in our community that's not going to back down from nobody. You know what I'm saying? No matter who comes our way, we will stand up and we will contest and contend with whatever issues that they have with us. And the last thing I'll say before I go, the one thing that does bother me, however, from being on that platform is that there's not a lot of exposure in regards to Hebrew Israelites that go on that platform, and is not a lot of support for them to speak about things other than their Israelite worldview. And I think that that is one thing that I've always had an issue with on that platform, and I've been doing my best to make strides to, change that. But there's a lot more besides speaking about an Israelite identity that we have to offer that community, any community, because as the Torah tells us that we are to be a light unto the Goyim or the Gentiles. That is our obligation. We can't always preach to the choir. You feel what I'm saying? Like, there is so much lost sheep that's out there that we have to reach, and they're everywhere. So for anybody that says anything bad about me, my brother Zion Lexx, my brother Tazaryach, for going on that platform, it's not thinking outside the box and considering that there's other brothers and sisters that need to hear the information that we're putting out to get them back in sync with their creator and their identity. And with that, I yield the floor.
Brother Devon, this is Brother B. out of Sacramento, California. I've been watching you for the last couple of years, man, and you put out some good information and some good knowledge. I want to ask you, when it comes to your to the minor issues that you had with the apologists, even to this day, the apologists, I mean, this is nothing personal against them, some of those guys I know, but as you can see, even with the apologists, they need our community to be relevant. So what would be your advice as far as you dealing with them, the time that you dealt with them? What would be your advice to other Hebrews who are trying to engage and debate and fight them? How would you tell them to go about their conduct with the apologists? Would you tell them to stay away from the apologists and ignore them and they can simply go away? Or do what you've done, get into the apologetics part of it and try to debate them and battle them, because for some reason they think when it comes to apologetics, they're superior and they're supreme. So what are your thoughts?
All right, my brother. It's great meeting you. I want to say shalom to you. Excellent question. In regards to the Christian apologetic community, when I was a Christian apologist. Hence why I told y'all earlier that I came up to several camps and was going back and forth with them. You feel what I'm saying? So I can definitely see things from their perspective. I was also somebody that followed a lot of James White work because I used to watch the John Inkerberg show, and John Inkerberg also had a platform that dealt with Christian apologetics, and that's when I learned about Walton Martin and a couple other people that was on his platform. And I found a lot about textual criticism, apologetics, cults, and so forth, and I went and researched and studied. And the church that I was at, actually, that was one of their specialties in defending against cults. So I started to read, research, and study. And one of the churches that I was a part of, the pastor actually had a degree, and he minored in like Christian apologetics and hermeneutics and epistemology. So I learned a lot from being in that community, and I see the crusade mentality. You know, that community is not going to stop, right? So even if we ignore them, they're not going to stop. Yes, they want something fresh and new because there's not a lot of world-renowned apologists that are dealing with the Hebrew Israelite community because, you know, to put it frankly, we're not that big of a community. You know, we're still a small minority. But what they're trying to do in their mind is we're going to prevent it from even getting any bigger because the moment they see that we're overseas and doing things, it's a threat to Christendom, not Christianity, Christendom, which is the dominion of Christ. And in their mind, right, they feel that they have an obligation to take this gospel to the four corners of the earth, convert everybody that needs to be converted, and in the process of doing so, that Jesus Christ is going to come back and he's going to rapture them up, right, or redeem them up. So what I've learned is say, hey, look, the best way to approach this, being an apologist, is you don't really have to deal with them head on. What needs to be done is that we have to study the things that they're studying, and we have to find counterclaims and counter-arguments, and we need to put that information out there to enlighten our community on how to address them when they come across them, and not to assume that every Christian is dumb and they're just following the pastor, because that's not true. We're in 2018. The Internet is easily accessible to almost every person on the planet, and people are reading, researching, and studying. So even my last lecture that I did this past Sabbath, where I was trying to give another angle in which we can present our Israelite identity by studying West Africa, is something that they're going to have to look into and say, okay, look, we got to take a different approach to this because we got to examine these claims that he's making now. So the objective is always to innovate in an area where we can find new and novel ways of presenting the data that we accumulate regards to that supports our worldview, and, you know, weighed against what they have on the table when dealing with us. So, you know, confronting them, I mean, we got Israelites that are passionate, so I can't tell brothers and sisters not to confront them. All I'm saying is just be wise when you do so. You know, they are trying to pin all of us as BIEs. They're trying to put us on an FBI list, CIA list, Southern Law Poverty Centers list, and all of us are not extreme that needs to go on our list, but those who are, their objective is to paint everybody with a broad stroke so that everybody can go on that list and everybody can be monitored, everybody can be spied on, everybody can be. This is what they're doing, you know, because it's not just about saving souls, but a byproduct of them and their mindset of saving souls is, hey, these people are terrorists. You know, they're breaking up homes and they're a cult, and all of this language, you know, these ad hominems that they throw our way is very detrimental to our expansion and waking up the elect. So I would say the best thing to do is if you do confront them, just be wise as serpents. You know, serpents and harmless as doves. When I confront them, I'm wise just as much as them. Sometimes I may spark a little when I deal with them, but it's never to the point where I become disrespectful and I OD on them, because I understand that a result of me doing that is them having the CIA and FBI watch me. You know what I'm saying? Unnecessarily. You know what I'm saying? So I would say equip yourselves, read the material that they're reading, and if you go to my YouTube channel, Kingdom Harvard Ministries, I have a lecture I did on there that's called Baptized in the Tradition of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And if you watch that, and it's a pretty lengthy video, but take your time, go through. If you watch it, you'll see the methodology that I utilize in order to deal with their claims. So much so is that somebody like me should not get no recognition to be dealt with by Christian apologists. And I'm not talking about your Vocab Malones, your G-Cons, your So Reals, you know, your G-Mans. I'm talking about people who are like your Michael Browns, your James Whites, and so forth. You know, those individuals should not even care about a person like me. But the fact that, you know, the information I'm putting out warrants these other, you know, Christian apologists to go and seek out assistance from more mature, you know, Christian apologists, go to show that we can make strides to the point where they will have to take notice. It's all in your approach. So you don't have to fight it head on and argue and curse them out and go in on them. You fight it as a think tank. And that's one thing that they bank in that we don't have in our community are think tanks. And the think tank system, especially when it's united in our community, as a united front against any threat that comes against us, is a powerful thing. Just like my brother Zion Lexx was talking about, he's a think tank when it comes to him dealing with Kemet. on behalf of our community. So we have to unite as think tanks, and we have to be able to saturate these platforms, whether it's House of Consciousness, our own platforms, or whatever, with enough information to not only defend but go on the offense as well. And one of the things that I did in showcasing and talking about Calvinism is pretty much to show that there's been a lot of prominent Calvinists that were slave masters, and they condoned slavery. Matter of fact, it was the Arminius that was mostly, parading against, slavery. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say every Calvinist was a slave master, but a lot of prominent ones are, and when you bring that up in conversation, they don't want to deal with it. So
and I think that's why, this is just me, correct me if I'm wrong, is that why we hear the term Reformed Calvinist? Is that the reason why we hear it so much?
Yeah, well, Reformed Calvinism is a modern take on Calvinism. So Reformed, it just means somebody that's come out of the worldview of Catholicism, and they are, somebody that's contesting a lot of the tenets of faith in regards to Catholicism, and they hold to sola fide, sola scriptura, et cetera, et cetera. But now it has evolved to a point where it's become heavily intellectual, where a lot of hyper-Calvinists or even moderate Calvinists don't even deal with eschatology or prophecy. If you go to my Facebook page and you'll see when I met James White and I was having a dialogue with him, I asked him about prophecy. I said, hey, how come you don't deal with prophecy? Oh, no, I stay away from prophecy. And he said this in videos. That's why when you approach them in regards to prophecy, if they're Calvinists, you got to be careful. Some individuals out here are subscribe to the Eastern Orthodox Church. Some out here are dispensationalists. You can't assume that they're all one and the same. You have to be able to pay attention to buzzwords that they use, sources that they use, doctrines in which they teach. And once you're able to isolate what denomination they're in, then you know exactly how to deal with the foundation that they're standing on. But the Reformed Calvinist movement is designed to be this hyper-intellectual aspect of Christianity to then from there launch out and deal with, the rest of the world in regards to defending Christianity. And a good example of that is if you look at Christian hip-hop, which I used to listen to back in the day when I was a Christian, most of those brothers are Reformed. Most of them are Calvinists. You feel what I'm saying? And this is the purpose of Calvinism, is to be the intellectual think tank in order to wage this crusade war against these cults or anybody that's a potential threat to Christendom. So this is just not me throwing everybody that's a Calvinist under the bus, because I've met some brothers who are Calvinists that are cool, but as an Israelite, I have some contentions in regards to their doctrine, and if they push against us, we will push back.
Most definitely, brother, and I do agree with you on that, and I try to be real quick. Do you think that there is, and there's some of the apologists who I know who have turned out to be some pretty good brothers, but the other side or various other individuals who we have speculations about, do you think there is a hate for our people calling ourselves the children of Israel? Do you think that there is something that threatens them, that they don't want to be under the control of our children when it comes to the Most High God? What are your thoughts about that, my brother?
Yes, I believe that whether that hate is realized, actualized, or subliminal, there's a disdain there. The notion that how could you be a Negro, African, American, or black, and even consider yourself as being a direct descendant of these people in the book that I read each and every day. And the fact that we also want to uphold Torah on top of that is a big problem. So in their mind subliminally, they cannot acknowledge the fact that African Americans, Negroes, blacks, or whatever, that we could possibly even be considered to be the descendants of the people of the book. Like that in their mind, it's like these people are the lowest of the low. These people have been downtrodden. These people have had their history stripped from them, their culture stripped from them. These people are, statistically, when we look at it, have the highest crime rate and everything. How could these individuals possibly be the chosen of the Most High Yah? And I've never came out and said that Israelites are only on the Western Hemisphere. I've never taught that. The Scripture says that they're going to be scattered to the four corners of the earth. What I do say is the fact that when they wage a war against the fact that we could possibly be, right, the children of the book, they want to seek to disenfranchise that notion. So I say, hey, look, if they want to take that route, they're fine in doing that. All we're going to do is find more innovative ways to establish who we are. And that is what we need to do, keep pushing and move past a lot of the rudimentary methods in which we utilize in order to prove who we are and find other innovative methods to do so. And that's what at least I'm trying to inspire our community to do, so that way they can never get one up on us. But again, you got to think about it. The most debased people on the planet could possibly be a child of the Most High through the means of his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Yaakov's descendants, Israel, and that you could possibly even be these people, that's unfathomable in their mind, because they never can equate us with that type of royalty. It's just, in their mind, is a disconnect, and it's unfortunate that they won't even consider that notion. You know what I'm saying? So, that's my take on that.
Yeah, most definitely, brother. I do agree with you on that. We have the Man Up segment. Most High willing, man, we can give you on the Man Up segment. We could probably talk some more, talk about this a little bit more, or some other topics. Like I said, brother, you are appreciated. We appreciate your work, and we're glad that we have brothers like you represented for our people, and especially when it comes to our youth, because our youth as a whole, whether they know they're Israel or not, our youth don't have much to look at, don't have much to look forward to. And brothers like you, there's a lot of brothers on the West Coast where I'm out in Sacramento and the Marysville area who know who you are, who follow you, and who love what you're doing. They appreciate you. And most high willing, man, we could probably set something up to where we can, down the line, get you out here and help us out and help us out here on the West Coast and bring more of our people into this light. And I'm going to fall back. And shalom, much love to you, brother.
Shalom to you, Ak, and I'll definitely take you up on that offer. Just reach out to me via Facebook, Divine Prospect, Instagram, at Kingdom Moments, Twitter, Divine Prospect, Kingdom Harbinger at gmail.com. And just reach out to me any way you see fit, and just let me know. We'll work that out. So I appreciate your time and your feedback, Ak.
Hey, shalom, Brother Divine. This is Anonymous Hebrew. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Aki. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm actually very happy to speak with you. Just to personally let you know, like, your work was influential in my academic studies at Liberty University for defending, like, my worldview as an Israelite. So, because I was majoring in religion and then also majored in psychology, and then minored, with a focus in Christian counseling. So it was very influential in me defending my worldview with my professors. So I want you to know, like, you're very influential in our community. So thank you for that.
Wow, I'm really honored to hear that, and it's humbling to hear that. And I thank the Most High for even considering me to be a vessel to leave an example to inspire other people, because I realize the best inspiration is not what you do, but what you get back. So hearing that, my brother, is definitely an honor, and I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, like, I want the people to know how in-depth, because I devour your videos. Like, I really go through and, like, break down piece by piece and study, and, so it was influential. So I appreciate that. I just got two quick questions because I know you got stuff to do. My first one deals with your views on manuscript authority. So, like, Masoretic text versus Dead Sea Scrolls or anything like that. Is there one that you prefer over the other one? And then my next one deals with henotheism, which is kind of a little bit more intricate, so I'll wait and ask that after you answer that first question. You there, Ak?
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah. Sorry. I have two questions. My first one is going to deal with manuscript authority, and then my next one deals with henotheism. I'll ask that one last because it's more intricate. But my manuscript authority question is, do you have like a preference, basically? Masoretic text versus Dead Sea Scrolls. I know you compare all, but in your studies, which one do you think? Codex Sinaiticus, whatever. Which one do you think is more, at least more consistent?
That's a great question. And I wouldn't say that I have any one in particular that I would say is more robust than the others. The Masoretic text is part of what's called the majority text type, which means that during 900, 1000, 1100, and on, it became the most copied manuscript and most favored manuscript during the time. So that way we have more copies of it than we do anything else. You also have the Samaritan Pentateuch. You have the Dead Sea Scrolls. You have the Septuagint. You have the Nash Papyrus. You have various other ones. So I wouldn't say that any one is better than the others because we don't have any autographs. So that means that we had an autograph, and let's say we had another text type version, and we were comparing all of these text type versions we just mentioned with the original, then we would know, oh, look, this text type family is more robust and it's the best version. We don't have that. If you're interested in this type of study, one person who I know is great in this area is a brother by the name of Emmanuel Tove. And I've read a lot of his work, and a lot of his work inspired me in regards to textual criticism and actually analyzing the strengths and the weaknesses of all of these text type families. So I wouldn't say that there's any one that I would say is better than the others. I use the Masoretic text more so than Leningrad, more so than any of the other manuscripts because it's easily accessible. But if I come across a particular passage, for example, like I mentioned in my discussion with my brother Zion Lexx, like Devarim chapter 32, verse 8, then I will go say, hey, what does the Septuagint say? What does the Dead Sea Scrolls say? Or what does the Samaritan Pentateuch say here? And I will look at these various things to see if there's textual variants and things of that nature. So what I would say is look in Emmanuel Tove's work. He'll tell you the strengths and weaknesses of all these text type families. And, if you can, do your best to try and learn the language. And the reason why I say that is because when you start learning the language, you'll get to see for yourself which one is the best understanding because you'll be able to tell, hey, look, the syntax in this verse is different than the syntax in that verse. And then you have to step back and say, wow, you know what? It seems like this scribe was a little bit more adept in regards to the language than this scribe. Because remember, all of these manuscripts that was written, these were scribes of different backgrounds, different educational levels, different doctrines, etc., that are putting together these manuscripts. So when you start to learn the language, you start to get to see little nuances such as that, and then you can get to appreciate them for what it is. But one thing that you'll be able to do even more is be able to translate these things for yourself so you can see, hey, look, this is more weight than this one. So I would say I use the Masoretic text more so because, it's the most widely used, but I never stop at that. I always go and double-check it or cross-reference it with another manuscript in order to ensure that I have the best understanding of the passage. So that would be my position on that.
Right. So that was my main question because, like, I always compare Masoretic text with the Septuagint, and so I just wanted to basically add a third one to get really good at. So, and then my final question, or my second question, just dealing with henotheism, because I've been studying this for a few years now, and I was so excited to see you bring it out in the way that you did, especially when you're clarifying with monolatrism. And so my goal is to figure out how to unify, messianic, or quote-unquote messianic and non-messianic. And I believe that is a great avenue to approach it. I guess this is my personal question. Is there a way that you can clarify for me the difference between B'nai Elohim in comparison to Malachim, right? And because what I'm getting and understanding is there is a hierarchy. And if I'm wrong, please let me know, because then I will change my direction of study. But from what I can see, there does seem to be, especially when you're dealing with Deuteronomy 32 and then was it Psalm 89 or 82, and I believe that is one of the things that we can really study and use to build a bridge with our Torah-only brothers. Can you clarify a little bit, just in terms, just for me personally and anybody else that probably had the question, just your thoughts and your studies on, B'nai Elohim versus Malachim, and is there a hierarchy in terms of who holds more weight, especially from what I believe in terms of geographical authority?
Yeah, well, that's an excellent question, and I could tell that you study. So praise the Most High for that. And that's a good thing. We should all be inspired to look at various things and see what we can get from it that will help transform our character. Because I tell people information is only as good as the character is transforming. So if whatever you learn is not transforming your character, then you need to throw it out and start from scratch. But that was an excellent question. The question you asked was the difference or the similarities between the Ben Elohim and the Melachim, and is there a hierarchy, etc. So there's various ways in which we can look at this. I can look at it from a Tanakh-only perspective, or I can look at it from a comparative cultural perspective, and then I would take into account more so the Ugaritic text. Some people try to extend it even more and go into the Babylonian text, the Assyrian text, the Akkadian text, even some of the Sumerian texts. I can go there, but I try to just limit it to the West Semitic language family and the literature that we have from there in order to reconstruct this understanding. So from a Tanakh perspective, we see that there are holy ones, right? There's these Hasidim individuals that are there in the realm, and we see in a situation where there's prophets that are lying to Ahaz from Mikha'el, and he was confronting them. And, there was a request that went out from the Most High that said, well, who will go and be a lying spirit in the mouth of these prophets? And we see it says those on his left spoke and those on his right spoke, but then a spirit came up and volunteered. So we see that there's some kind of deliberation that's going on in regards to this heavenly court scenario. Monolatrism is excellent what you say, and that's ideal. Henotheism just means that there's a supreme deity, and in our worldview, that supreme deity is the creator. He's the head of this council, and his throne can never be contended, because we don't see anything in the text that shows that that any other entity can contend for his throne. As opposed to the Ugaritic text, we see that Baal typically asserts himself as being the lead, HNIC. You know what I'm saying? Where was just the overseer in the background, and he allows Baal to rule and reign. And when you study the text, outside the worldview of just being an Israelite, you'll get to see why there was such beef between the Israelites and those who follow Baal, because in their mindset, the throne of that region was based on whatever people conquered that area. That's whose patron deity ruled that region. So we'll see, Baal and other deities mentioned in the text from these Canaanites. But then when the Israelites started to entertain the fact that, hey, maybe we can get some benefit from these other entities, then it caused a lot of discord amongst the nation of Israel. So from my perspective, the Bene Elohim, they are a council that is under El Elyon, right? And I think that Yod He Wav He is a persona that El Elyon takes on, because he covenants with Moshe and the children of Israel in order to go and punish the Canaanites because they've disrespected the name of El. And we see by looking into archaeology, when the Amorites came on the scene, they're the ones that took over Ugaritic and parts of the region of Canaan. We even have what's called the Amuru Kingdom, which you can see from the Egyptian text. That they decided that El was no longer going to be the chief deity. They started to big up Baal, they started to big up Yam and all these other deities, and pretty much put El to the background. You know what I'm saying? And in doing so, if El is supreme and he's the creator, you don't disrespect the creator that way. So this is why we see when the Most High tells Abraham the sin of the Amorites is not yet full, they were given time to get things right. And unfortunately, after hundreds of years, they still did not. So this is why you had this huge contention between, Yod He Wav He going in to bring justice in that region on behalf of his essence, which is El Elyon, because we know that Yahweh he never comes off the throne; he stays on the throne. You know what I'm saying? He always was on the throne, but he has extensions of himself that can reach out and touch man and interface with man, or he'll send a messenger on his behalf. So the Bene Elohim are other entities that are in control of other regions, ethnic groups, etc. But El Elyon is always supreme. So Yod He Wav He is just an extension of El Elyon, and he's there to surname Israel, covenant with them, so that way he can take back the land that was, unrighteously being ruled and Israel as his people. That's why when Israel went astray, he said, listen, if you do the same things these Canaanites are doing, you also will be spewed out. Why? Because he keeps saying, you shall not profane my name. So many things the Most High prevented himself from doing because he said, hey, if I do this, I'm going to give occasion to our enemies, right? So it's going to look bad if you do not represent me well. So the Melachim, which would be these lesser spirits that are representatives of either the Most High or any of these other individuals or entities that are on the council, they are the spirits that are underneath them, right? And then there's also mention of demons that we see in the Tanakh, which is really a bad translation. Demon is more like a Christian term, right? More you get more of a Greek essence from that, and reading back in the Tanakh, and you add that translation to it. But there is a hierarchy of entities. I mean, some people believe in the Watchers that we see in Genesis chapter 6. Some people say, oh, these were the sons of Seth. Some people said these were, ethereal entities, right? But then when we go to Vayikra chapter 16 or Leviticus 16, we see the mention of a entity called Azazel. You know, that word scapegoat doesn't exist there in the Hebrew. It's Azazel. And you don't know who Azazel is until you study the book of Enoch. Again, this is another identity marker of these entities, and when you read like the book of Enoch and the statement is may ascribe all sin to Azazel, and you keep this in mind as it would have been understood by, let's say, the Dead Sea Scrolls that we have this data from the Qumran community, that helps to explain why the scapegoat is sent out into the wilderness. Because when you see what happens to Azazel, he's buried in rocks. Even his name Azazel is the rugged one of El, right? Because whenever you see El, that's suffix to a name, we know that's a theophoric title, right? So we're not talking about no goat, you know what I'm saying? We're talking about an entity. And you'll see that when they place their hands and they commence all the sin onto this goat, and they send the goat out into the wilderness, the purpose of that is to bring the sin back to the one that caused mankind to fall in the first place. So Azazel also would be an individual in consideration in regards to where he stands as far as the Watchers. So the best way to kind of reconstruct this hierarchy is to be able to analyze the biblical text and be able to, sector out all the various names of the other entities in there and look at it in other cultural studies such as Ugaritic, because Ugaritic has a more detailed list of who these entities are. But the purpose of understanding who these entities are is not to go worship after them. It's not to go, to be so intrigued about them that you start following them. The purpose of it is to know what is going on in the heavenly realm that's manifesting on the earthly realm. And a lot of times,
that's like dealing with I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, King.
I was just saying, so that's when you start dealing with like the Apkalu and all of that stuff. So once you start getting into like the mess, okay, cool, Say no more. I don't even want you to have to waste your breath. Like you.
No. I'm gonna finish it off for you real quick. So there is a hierarchy. The Most High, like I said, is always supreme. Like you said, monolatrism means only worship is singled out for the Most High. Unfortunately, the Israelites were not strictly monolatrists because they were worshiping other entities. And there was reasons for that, right? When you actually see the text from an objective perspective, you'll see why they were worshiping these other deities. But ultimately, the divine council can only answer to the Most High Yah. The fact that Ha-Shatan comes with the Bene Elohim to report, because these Bene Elohim, these sons of El, when they're doing whatever they're doing on earth, they have to come back and report to the Most High, and they have to be given permission to do certain things. And this is extremely evident. Even when you look in the Ugaritic text, there's always council meetings, right? So Ha-Shatan, if he is an ontological being and he's saying, listen, I'm going to and fro the earth seeking who to devour, and he said, have you tried my servant Job? He said, how can I do that when you have a hedge of protection around him? Goes to see that there's another entity that is outside of Yah who actually has a function or assignment, and he can only do what he's allowed to do. He has to get permission in order to do that. So if the Most High allows these other entities to have free reign to do certain things, it's only because it's to bring about a more divine purpose that he has, not only for the children of Israel, but what he wants to exert on the world as a whole.
All right, fellas, I got to jump in real quick.
Thank you so much.
Real quick. Hold on 1 second. Just got to jump in real quick. Let's let the family know we got like 24 minutes in the air, fam. We have 24 minutes in the air. I got Mikha'el standing by. I still have Visual Doctrine standing by. Tazaryach is standing by. So, you might go into the overtime part of the show. You might have to go into the overtime part of the show.
I'll just give my closing remarks, and I definitely want to let the other brothers speak because I've been observing and just listening. I like to learn. I like to grow. I like to see other people's perspectives. So I want to thank the two brothers for their comments. I want to give a shout-out to you, Sal Showtime, for always reaching out to me and having an objective platform for all of us to speak and to share these views in other places we wouldn't necessarily be able to. I want to shout-out to my brother Tazaryach, who was on the line earlier. Shout-out to Israel Doctrine. Shout-out to Zion Lexx, my brother Zion Lexx. Shout-out to Mikha'el Ben Yisrael and everybody else that's graced the platform on tonight. I just want to say all praises to the Most High Yah. I want to encourage everybody to, continue to support Sal Showtime's platform because if you want it to actually grow, where we have an opportunity to have these debates and these segments, we got to support the brother Sal Showtime and what he brings to the table in regards to not just the conscious community, but also the Israelite and Christian community as well. So much love and shout-outs go to Sal Showtime. And I want to say at the end of the day, the brother mentioned about unity. And what I tell people all the time is that, how do you know that you are, psychologically hardwired to unify with a brother or sister? The best way to tell is when you approach them, are you first trying to address differences or similarities? Are you looking for the numerator or the denominator? Right, common denominator. So I tell people all the time, approach a brother or sister in regards to the things that you agree with. Build a bridge, build a rapport, build a foundation on that first. And then once you have that, then any other nuances in regards to numerators that you share, then we can approach that because we've already been, have a solidification in regards to brotherhood and sisterhood. So that's the telltale sign that somebody's actually striving to unify is when they actually say to themselves, hey, I'm going to approach this from a place where we agree, build on that, edify, encourage, empower, equip each other in that area. And once we strengthen that, now that I have a comradeship with this brother or sister, now we can talk about our numerators. And even if we agree, we can disagree, right? And even if we disagree, we can agree on our disagreements. But at the end of the day, it's not going to ruin the rapport that we've already built. So strive to find the common denominator, unify on that first. And then once you have a solid rapport with your brother, so you can laugh, you can joke with them, you can even hang out with them. Once it gets to that point, then it's like, okay, look, let's deal with the things that we disagree on because at the end of the day, we're either going to see eye to eye or we maybe have differences, but we're still going to be unified, not just on the core things that we believe in, but the fact that we build a comradeship of brotherhood and sisterhood before we started off in any area that was divergent in regard to our numerator. So with that, thank you, Sal. Thank you, family, for listening. Peace, shalom, and Black Power, family.
All right, man. We appreciate your call. Now, I'm going to bring everybody back on later on. I just wanted to make sure everybody gets the individual time to speak. So again, I'm going to bring everybody back on at the same time later on, after Mikha'el speaks. So if you want to remain on for that part of the segment of the show, you can. But if not, we still appreciate you. But let's go to Mikha'el. He's been waiting patiently for a long period of time. Let's go to Mikha'el. What's going on?
Hey, shalom, brother. Sal Showtime. I'd like to say grace and peace. Y'all know how I do it. It's Mikha'el Ben Yisrael. Coming about the shy Hebrews in the hood, the walls of Jericho, biblical and historical studies. I called in, man, and as usual, I got garbage time. I know how it goes. He said he's gonna bring everybody back and all that, but I'm cool with the garbage time. I ain't tripping, so I ain't tripping.
Listen, you on the air, brother. Be lucky, man.
Yeah, I'm on it. I know it, and I'm cool. Do what I can while I can be heard. Well, it was so much going on in this conversation today that you had. It really was an interesting topic, the House of Consciousness. Could you recite the title for us again, for all the listeners?
The topic is Hebrew Representatives at the House of Consciousness, 2018. What do you think?
Okay, Hebrew representatives at the House of Consciousness. So, for people that don't know, that's listening, man, the H.O.K. is a pretty well-known entity inside of the so-called conscious community. I call it the chaos community, but that's what it is. And the thing about it is, I got to say, it's very relevant. It's very relevant because I remember now, I've been knowing I was an Israelite for 23 years. Some people don't like me even saying it. They're like, it's a bad thing to tell people how long you've been in the truth. But I was still doing criminal stuff and everything. But I knew I was an Israelite around 1995. And I'm not going to lie, I remember when the internet, Facebook, YouTube, and all that came out. So I'm thinking it had to be about 10, 12, 13 years ago or something. But I remember checking out Signature TV and all that out constantly. And I can be honest, I'm finna say some real 100 stuff, right, y'all? Oh, shout out to everybody, all my Hebrews that's keeping the feast. 11 bread, it's the third day going into the fourth day. Some of y'all, I know, calendar a little different. But shout out to you for even trying to observe the Most High's days, you know. We set apart from the world. We don't keep their days. We keep the Most High. So, yeah, man, and I remember I used to tune in and then I'm like, dang, Joe, you know, there's so much information on there that anybody who says Signature TV has not been beneficial to the community is a liar. Point blank, period. I don't feel that I'm a proper representative of that because I like brothers like Tazaryach, Israel Doctrine, Lexx, Ron Divine Prospect, Prince Danyala. I know all these brothers. Prince Danyala, I know Nasi. I could go on and on because I was a part of the Hebrew War Machine as well. Mikha'el Edwards, my brother Mikha'el Edwards, you know, it's unfortunate he hasn't called in yet. That's the only one missing. But, you know, this is the thing, right? I was a part of all that, so I understand that if we say that the H.O.K. has not been beneficial as far as Israelites waking up, we would be lying. Because, to be honest with you, like it's been said, if you look around the community today, especially dealing with Kemetic science and Pan-Africanism, Nuwapianism, and all that type of stuff, what set them numbers off is when the Hebrews go against the Kemetics. We all know that. You know, we all know that. And so you have to get a house of conscience and say props. Now, as far as, like, the legitimacy of it, as far as, like, you know, is that like a university that you will want in your life? And, you know, Sonetta might be listening. He might call there. I don't want the brother to think I'm hating on him. I've only called it as far as my voice has only been heard on his show 2 times as far as I'm my own voice. Now, as far as people putting clips and stuff and something like that, that's another thing. But only twice, you know, just one just recent. And I had to, you know, I had to beat up on Jabari. But my whole thing is, you know, that whole thing is important to a lot of people. And now the thing I got to say is it has to have responsibility that come with it. Now, when I finally tuned in, well, I was already tuned in, but when other people started calling in, I had people, it was something Tazaryach said. He had brought up, Tazaryach was calling in, and he had brought up about basically how the Bible is important because a sister had called in or something, saying something about, do you need the Bible and all that. And I'm going to be honest with you. Like he said, man, if it wasn't for that Bible, like I could use an example of myself, right? I've had differences with Zion Lexx. You know, it didn't last 2 days. I had differences with what's the brother name? That's crazy. It just like disappeared out of my head. So I had differences with Mikha'el Edwards, who was actually one of the founders of the Hebrew War Machine. You know, that I had became a part of for a moment. And that didn't last a week. I had differences with Israel Doctrine even. And me and him was taught by the same teachers. They're my brother. That's my brother. And it lasted for a while. Wow. But we was able to put that down. And although I never really had no open differences with like a Tazaryach, and I'm using it just in the order that I heard it came over here, just to show people why the Bible is needed. Me and Tazar, you really know each other like that. You know what I'm saying? But Tazar, people from the camp, whatever, I had differences with, and I was ready to go straight at them, debate them or whatever. And certain things don't happen in the Hebrew or Israelite, however you want to say it, community. We're going to have those things. But when I got to really know that brother on a speaking to each other type time, it was totally different. Do y'all know what set all that straight? It was that Bible. Real talk.
it is not just the piece of paper with the words wrote on it. It's the principles that's in there. You can't do and say certain things if you don't believe in it. If not, you just a fumble. It's a lot of groups we form up, when our oppression kicks in on us as a community. But the whole problem is we don't have nothing to hold us accountable for that. When we all gods and goddesses and all that. We don't got nobody over us. It's just us being us. So that's no different than a psycho or a sociopath or a rapist or anything else being who they are. Because there's some wicked-ass people out there. Excuse my Hebrew. And so when I was listening to all...
Keep it clean.
Yeah, I only said that. I said it like the biblical ASS. My bad. That's what I was saying it like. My bad.
Man.
But,
go ahead.
Yeah. I know. I only got the garbage time, and then I definitely got to be super clean. I got to be like Dan Aykroyd on Saturday Night Live. But look, right. But my whole thing is, I got to give a shout out to Mac News 144, man, and shout out to my man Christopher Harris, man. We did a show early on his show. But, these are the type of things that we do need to talk about. So I was listening to everything that was being said, and it was kind of like, we got into the whole belief system thing. But the truth of the matter is, if it was not for the Israelites, point blank period, like I heard Ron talking about it, if it wasn't for the Israelites, us just as a group, there would really be no conscious community. Because if you keep it 100, if you ever go back and look at the videos with the Hebrew reverse Kemet or something like that, which has become like gangbanging. It's got the highest numbers. So something we doing is very much effective. And the truth of the matter is, like I brought up earlier, how all those little situations I had with brothers that was even just on here, how they ended so short. You know why? It was because we were both serious about these principles. The principles kill a lot of stuff, man. You can't be on here having all these YouTube beats and all that, if you really believe in what you're saying. And so I got to give a shout out to Debate Talk for You too, because Debate Talk for You is in the same category as Black News 102 or Fanatic TV. Which is the House of Consciousness, what we're talking about. The only difference is it's more Israelite centered. Theirs is more like Kemetic Pan-African spirituality centered. That's what that is, right? But if you look at them, they're like almost polar opposites. But every now and then you'll have one that'll cross over to either side. And that's because I got to say, as far as Sal's show goes, he don't doctor up videos and stuff that you hear. He let it play the way it play, and he play it out. He try to give you an equal thing. It's just mostly Israelites on him because he's an Israelite. Now, when you go to the House of Consciousness 102 type thing, they give Israelites chances on that. They do. But sometimes, it's doctored, it's scenes cut out and all that type of stuff. And so a lot of cats don't want to keep doing that, because we the strength. To be honest with you, without the Israelites, I'm keeping it 100 with y'all. Without the Hebrew Israelites, there is no conscious community. We just don't really consider ourselves a part of it, but we're always thrown in it. And that's something I just want everybody to know. And so I can tell you all my favorites on there. I remember when the Hebrew War Machine, when that thing first went down, it was like, all right, we go to the Kemet on trial and all that. They had called it the Year of the Hebrew, because the Hebrews had just been scraping Kemetics and debates, all of them down the line, and it was on Fanatic TV, really. It was like Nazi and all these cats, man. I don't be naming everybody, but y'all know who y'all is. But and then it came to the point, it was like, all right, we got to do the Kemet thing, man, because they need a comeback. And then they cut stuff out and all type of crazy stuff. But the whole point of the matter was, if we was not there, y'all, it would not be no show. It wouldn't be nothing. It would not be nothing. I was hoping Sinetta would call in here, because he might do it. I was hoping he can call in here. And I'm not just going to critique it, like I said earlier, it has its benefits because let's be honest, whether you a Hebrew or a Kemetic, had we not had these battles, the other side would have never paid attention to the point where they would basically sharpen themselves up. Because I know I had to sharpen myself up on history dealing with them cats. You know what I mean? And it helped me see something on the way, although I never lost my faith in what I believe. I know the black man wrote the Bible, and I know my ancestors wrote the Bible, and this for me, and all of that type of stuff. But I started having to look deeper into certain subjects like Now Valley Science and as they call it, or Now Valley History, Samatawi, and all these type of things. Me and Kashu the Danite, if you remember him, Sal, remember? Me and Kashu the Danite, a.k.a. Moray Yeshaya, we used to do the alley-oops. We were some of the first cats. I got my first dub on your joint when I beat up the fake Christian apologist G-Con, you know, who was my brother for a long time. That they came up just a little while ago with Ron and other brothers, Israel Doctrine, all that. Yeah, the Christian apologetics, man. And let me say this last part, then you can go on to the table, however you're going to do it, just leave me on. Leave me on. I'm like official H.O.K. because you already know why. Let me say this. When it comes to like this so-called urban apologetic or Christian, I call them Christian antagonists, right? And they like to call it the DHIs and all this. You got Vocab, Malone, James White, and all that. These brothers talking about. And then you got a bunch of people from my own community. I ain't gonna call them out their name or nothing. You know, but those black individuals that could blend into our barbecue. And their whole goal is to literally go at Hebrew Israelites. Y'all got to think about that. I've never really seen groups get on a integrational front. Like they united with other groups that have a history. If you look at the history of the theology that they represent in Christianity, it has racism involved in it, right? And then they tag up with some black dudes who say they either used to be with this movement, meaning Hebrew Israelites, or they're just black Christians. They got educated, ran into it, they didn't like it, they was offended, they need to be educated against it, right? Like it's a nuclear bomb or something, right? That ain't never killed nobody, though. You know what I'm saying? What's funny I find about that is you got that, and they strategically built, even if you ask them, to attack black people, to attack their own groups in their communities. Because think about it. They're not attacking white Hebrew Israelites. They're attacking, quote-unquote, black Hebrew Israelites. So that means they wake up every day to fight a black man. Have y'all ever thought about that? I've been waiting to say this, and it's the perfect time to say it because I got a big enough audience. Real talk. The Christian apologetics who have the Negro League division, that's what I call it, the colored division. That's the black ones they got running around, right? Then they got the white division, which is the superior ones, like Vocab, James White, all them, right? Now watch this. Even I believe that dude Faithful to God is a Jewish type dude. Now look at them. They call themselves Shield Squad, Soldiers of God, and all this. These cats are strategically, they'll tell you, designed to attack groups because they feel that their doctrine is hateful or whatever. But then in their same breath, they'll tell you they have a problem with moderate Israelites. So hold on, I want y'all to ask yourself, if it was just about what they claim to be hateful speech, why do they have a problem with moderate Israelites? I want y'all to think about it. So that means you have two different groups within the same nationality claiming the same thing, but one goes about a thing a more militant, yellow in the corner way. Another one goes about it more, they have buildings and stuff, but they still do corner type things, and they, you know, building communities and hospitals and stuff. You know, I'm getting into some stuff. And for some reason, they had the same problem. But they said it was about doctrine, because I'm trying to tell y'all it's not about doctrine, people. It's about us saying we are the holy people of God. And so they have a very serious issue with us. That's why, because we are the holy people of God. None of those groups, look, think about it, and I'm going to say this last part, Sal. They will literally admit to you they were formed to attack Hebrew Israelites. And then they'll say out the same breath, well, we don't really have a problem with the moderate Israelites, but we don't like them.
Oh, man. His
Hello?
call just dropped. Yeah. Yo, Mikha'el, call just dropped, bruh. Make sure you call back in. But go ahead, BA.
Now, one thing about Mick, he's making some valid points. I'll say this. People know my stance on the apologists. They know I don't agree with their tactics right now. I'm all about going against false doctrine. You know what I'm saying? I'm all. Hello?
Yeah, my bad, bro. You know, and real quick. Let me just finish my convo. I'm almost done. I see you finished. You want to jump in, but just let me, because I see you can feel where I'm going. So let me just finish this, right? Because you got to think I've been waiting for 2 hours. So my point was, if you heard me and y'all all heard me, seriously, their agenda is beyond doctrine. It's beyond any of that type of stuff. They don't want us as Negroes, quote unquote, descendants of slaves and all that type of thing, calling ourselves God's chosen people. And I can prove that, and it's easy. It's not a conspiracy theory, really. It's a conspiracy fact. And so, with that being said, you know, when we do things like this, like you opened up on your platform, Sal, you let anybody come on here and talk. They could be right. They could be anything. But somehow, they're going to find a way to twist it because you identify as an Israelite by nationality. That is how you know it is built specifically for an agenda. So I just want to let it be known to all of you so-called urban apologists, and when you've never really been in the urban society, why do you call yourself that? That's bait. That's clickbait right there, urban apologists. You're not urban. See, that term you use, you know, like metropolitan, you're trying to say you be around Negroes, you be around black people. You're not, vocab Malone. You're not. You're a culture vulture, point blank, period. All those other cats that y'all got running around there. Look, y'all might have had a bad experience with some Israelites, and I'm sorry if one of you brothers went through that. But I can guarantee you, I can name a way longer line of ancestors since we've been over here. They had bad experiences with Christians. And it was probably dealing with them being hung, burned, decapitated, castrated, going in a woman's womb, doing stuff. So it ain't even on the same condition, man. The truth of the matter is, y'all got something going on, and y'all coming at us. Y'all coming at Israel, man. Y'all coming at us. But I'm going to tell you something. Y'all are fighting.
Hold that thought real quick. We only have like a minute left in the air, fam. We have 1 minute left in the air. We're going into the overtime. We're going into the overtime part of the show, so you're going to have to call in 319-527-6239 before that time runs out. If you want to hear the rest of the show live, 319-527-6239. And I see we have 2 more people standing by waiting to ask their question, and of course I'm going to bring everybody else back in. Let's let Mikha'el finish up. There, Mikha'el.
Yeah, I know. And, you know, it's good you kind of put the mute in on that time because I kind of drifted off, you know. I started preaching, so yeah, I got to forgive me. But the bottom line is we don't want to lose focus. I think the real topic is the contribution of the Hebrew Israelites as far as the House of Consciousness is involved. I'm going to keep it real. I never really, like I told you already, I learned from that channel. But I didn't like it as far as I don't like Israelites on that debating each other. And they really don't respect the Bible and all that, you know, and all that. But it is a platform. And it was something like Tazaryach said earlier, it has numbers. So if you're going to get that word out there, get it out there regardless, because in the end of the day, somebody going to hit it, and they ain't going to be listening to all that we was born, a uterus impregnated itself and all that type of crazy stuff they be saying. They going to look at the practical stuff and see that the real science in it, and they going to come on home, you know, and that's the truth. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'd rather just, you know, you can leave me on, Sal, chill. I'll hop on the table because I already know who finna call in or whatever. But I just want to say one last shot, and that's to let this be known. To you so-called Christian apologists, they are really Christian antagonists. The WCA, which is the white Christian apologists, and the NCA, which is the Negro Christian apologists, because it's the colored division. Y'all can't need to chill. Y'all need to focus y'all energy just one day out. I ask y'all just 1 week out the whole year. Just 1 week. I want y'all to please focus y'all attention on the injustices committed against the black community, like police shooting us down, the unequal conviction rate in the justice system. Because, you know, that's part of the gospel, too. I can show y'all that in the New Testament, in the Bible. Visit the prisons and all that. Try to do that just 1 week out the year. And we will believe that y'all not niggly. Y'all not just, you know, little puppets running around from them, and y'all really care. And to the ones that run y'all, like vocab and them, y'all are very crafty and smart to know how to duck and dodge who you deal with at one time. And I'll say, just keep doing y'all job, because at the end of the day, y'all going to get shut down because it's prophecy. All right, I'm going to stay on, Sal, man. Leave me on, because I've been sitting on here for 2 hours, and I have people listening, so I'm going to sit on mute.
I'm going to leave you on. Stand by, though. Stand by. All right, but Brother B.A., Anonymous Hebrew, y'all want to say anything? Go ahead. Y'all can address anything. We do have 2 other callers.
You go ahead, Anonymous, first. I'll let you go ahead, brother.
Gotcha.
Oh, man, I'm sitting here stuffing my face. First of all, shout out to Michael, Brother Mikha'el Ben Yisrael. I'm sorry I ain't reached out to you, brother. I'm working on it, though. I appreciate everything that you're doing. And when we get ready to, I guess we're going to have like a little round table. I would love to hear your thoughts, because you have been in the community for so long. 1, where we came from to where we are now, and 2, how to get us over this hump. Just your thoughts on the best way to get us over what I feel is this home stretch, right? Because we done woke up, we started to grow. Now how do we blossom into that beautiful vineyard that the Most High has prophesied us being? That's really all I got, because I know we late in the evening.
All right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring everybody else back on, but I see 2 callers. I don't know where they are. We're going to take these callers, and after that, we're going to pretty much bring everybody back on. I don't see Tazaryach anymore on the line. I don't see Zion. I see Israel Doctrine is standing by. We're going to bring them back on, and of course, Mikha'el. All right, let's see who these callers are, though. Let's see who these callers are. Let's go to 678-497. You'll have an answer. 678-497. Yeah, what's going on?
Shalom. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, shalom. My name is Mikha'el Ben Yisrael. I been like Hebrew for about 4 years now, going on like 5. And with Sinetta, I used to watch them around the time when I was coming into the walk, and I've seen a lot of the debates on their platform, and a lot of the big faces that I've seen, like y'all named today, like Nasi Yashaville, Divine Prospect, Zion Lexx, and Mighty Hebrew. Well, I actually met like all 4 of those, like in Divine Prospect. I know, like I met in person and stuff like that, and Nasi Yashaville, like shout out to him. I actually attend his congregation, so it's pretty cool. Like when I met them, you ever got like starstruck? Like like these were people who were like I was like just I studied their work. I was like when like a lot of my knowledge come from a lot of their methods of how they build and how they learn, and a lot of and how they debate. So and that was like definitely inspiring for even me. Like I tried to go about it and everything, and as well as Captain Tazaryach, yeah, like shalom to him. Like I do get into it a lot with a lot of people that involved with the H.O.K, but I mean, it usually is in like fair fight or fair, but what I call like considered sparring. Like, cause we're not really supposed to like be angry with our brothers over the odds or something like that. So I consider it like sparring, like iron sharpening that iron or whatsoever. So I definitely see that that's like a very good way for us to gain knowledge or gain understanding within Torah, as well as I see a lot of how Divine Prospect goes about and where he deals with his debates and how he's calm and collective and whatsoever. But definitely remembered Nasi Yashavel and Seti's debate. That was one of the first debates that I actually seen on that platform, as well as I did see the Exodus Memorial off of that platform as well. So that's how I came across like Zion Lexx and seeing him and coming familiar with him as well. And I want to say this first and foremost, like the best platform is Debate Talk Radio. I just want to say that like since I've been listening to it like to like YouTube or whatsoever, like this platform right here, I feel is the best platform as far as like for the Hebrew community. I do see a lot of building with you, like we have the Man's Up. I listen to a lot of that. I listen to the with Amunda. She like that platform is awesome for the women. So it's definitely this platform right here is definitely aspiring. As for like somebody who's like me. But anyway, like kind of like back to like Sarnetta, I do see the necessity for that platform. I mean, if you kind of think about like this, if we do see this as more of a Kemetic, Pan-African, like I do see it more as like a Mizraim type, Egypt type, where this is more like Israel. And if we do kind of see the history of just these two nations, we do kind of see like a little bit of strife, but sometimes we're working as a team, but sometimes we have strife with each other. So I do see kind of like there's always going to be a back and forth just between just these two, I would say, I guess entities or whatsoever. But I definitely do see it being needed or whatsoever, just people out there who just really want to like see other people's view. I do see it more as of a arena because I do see like the Moors are coming around, the Wahabians coming around. You have a lot of different Pan-Africans that come in. So I can see different walks of life or whatsoever, and not just really focus and center on the Hebrew. I can definitely see the different walks in life. I can see how to defend, my walk, pick up different pointers or whatsoever that I can go and actually study in on or whatsoever. So it's definitely needed. But yeah, I mean, I had a whole bunch of things. I've been sitting here listening to this for like an hour. I had a whole list of stuff to say. And now, right now, it kind of just went right. But it's cool, though. I appreciate the time, side. You're amazing. You're definitely inspiring as like a host because you definitely allow everybody who to come onto the right. Like I did hear the Christian apologetics with. And one thing that did kind of one of the first shows that I heard you was with I believe it was so real, and he brought on a woman who had, I guess, a bad experience with a Hebrew Israelite, and this also kind of put me onto a path that I'm on right now. But and actually, like this little show that I watched right now, she had a bad experience with the Israelite. Like her husband got her to one of the camps or whatsoever, and his whole life mentality had kind of changed up his way. But the stuff that she was saying was like, I'm like, that's not us. I mean, that's definitely not me. Like I've never treated a woman like I'm married and I'm planning on bringing it on a second, but our contract is going to be a little bit different for me and my first wife. I'm trying to issue out a different type covenant as far as like it's going to be without conjugal, or I would say sex or whatever. But it's going to be kind of interesting. But I just kind of want to be her covering or whatsoever when she comes in. So I do kind of feel like there's different like ways. I mean, there's yeah. I mean that. Yeah, that definitely. Slick out. But I mean, I just want to say like it's different. It's different Hebrews that were out there that doesn't have this type of mindset that women are this, women are that, or women, and I did see that episode, and that episode kind of was like how is he kind of putting up with her, just bashing us like that. And then, but I understand that, it was a show that you wanted to happen, or you wanted to go. So I do definitely have like this mad respect for you and stuff like that. I definitely want to come back on and stuff like that, and if it's possible or whatsoever, like get an opportunity when you bring the panels back or whatsoever. And if I did definitely have a question for Divine as far as what he thought about. Say again, okay?
Yeah, what I'll do is that's what I'm looking for everybody. I know Israel Doctrine is standing by. I know Mikha'el, but I believe Zion. Let's see. I think Devon left as well. It's only Israel Doctrine and Mikha'el, and the rest of the listeners out here. So if you have any questions, anybody have any questions for my brothers, make sure y'all call in. Press number 1. We're in the overtime part of the show, so just press number 1. We have Israel Doctrine here. We have Mikha'el here. BA or an Anonymous Hebrew. Y'all have anything to say before we go to the next caller?
No, I don't got anything. Let's get to the next call.
All right, let's go to the next caller, and after that, we're going to pretty much bring in a special guest on 720-352. Who are we speaking to?
This is Davon. What's up, Sal? Shalom, Anonymous Hebrew. Shalom, BA. How y'all doing?
Shalom, Mark.
I wanted to address two things real quick. I won't be long. First, all praise to the Most High God of Israel. In respect to the... Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you on air. You're live.
Oh, okay. I heard some clicks. Okay. In respect to the House of Consciousness, when I started listening to that, I'm kind of on the same board as for a couple other people I heard. Nazi Yashuvel, Zion Lexx, and Divine Prospect. I would say they probably the 3 top scholars as far as what I've heard from them. Go into depth about certain subjects and topics. Nazi goes into the metaphysical, Zion goes into the language, and Divine is a scholar on many levels as well. So I mean, listen to those cats, and listen and stuff actually led me to Sal's show, which I think is it's not the same platform as Sarnetta's, but I think it's just as powerful, if not more powerful, because Sal's not so biased. It's biased as Sarnetta, and that ain't no shot at him. He even admitted he's biased, so that's not really, my opinion. That's kind of what he said. So props to you, Sal, for letting everybody get on here and voice their opinion, being with, if they're Tanakh only or New Testament, and to address one of the divisions, what I mean, when we go into what's really dividing Israel, or however you want to term that, I think one of the biggest things is Yeshua's message changed, and what I mean by that is I don't think any Tanakh only Hebrew will disagree with what I'm about to put out there, but there's a lot of stuff that Jesus or Yeshua said that we completely agree with. It was just that his message kind of evolved or changed depending on which gospel you read. An example of that is something that I completely agree with, and people kind of know, how I come at the New Testament on Sal's platform, but I want to, I come in peace, so I'm not here to bang. I just want to show a difference. And if we deal with Matthew chapter 6, verse 9 through, I'm going to read 9 through 13. It says, "In this manner, therefore, pray, our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, and we forgive our debtors. Do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen." If you're Tanakh only, there's no beef with that. You know what I'm saying? He's giving credit to the Most High. He's telling you to pray to the Most High. He's not involving himself in that. He's not telling you to pray to him. He's not telling you to die for him. He's telling you seek the Most High. But when we get to the Gospel of John, in chapter 14, it says, let your heart not be troubled. You believe in God, believe in me also. So this is where we see a change in his gospel. And when you go down to verse 14, it says, if you ask anything in my name, I will do it. So it's not that we completely just take Jesus and just throw him out the water, just throw him all out the game completely. It's that his message changes depending on which gospel you're reading. And I think that's the division. Because if you're honest, you can't say everything he said is blasphemous or, against the Tanakh. And I think, like me and Anonymous was talking about a couple of days ago, and BA was on the line with him and Chris, we do have our differences and divisions and all these things. We need to address them, but we need to acknowledge that these are two different messages. Because if I stick to the Matthew 6, prayer, and I don't include Jesus in my prayers, I can agree with that. And if I say, well, I'm only going to do that, and I'm never going to say in Jesus' name, and I'm only going to give credit to the Most High, according to Jesus, am I going to go to hell? Because in another scripture says if I don't put him in my prayer and say things in his name, I'm going to go to hell. So, we got to recognize that his gospel is changed, or, is it different, or there's got to be some acknowledgement of there's a difference there. And like I said, I came in peace. I didn't come to set trip tonight. I'm just pointing out why.
Oh, you set tripping. Dang.
I'm not set tripping. I'm just showing a difference.
Well,
I read the verses and I'm showing the difference.
Devon Mace, hold on, because I got to bring back Israel Doctrine and Mikha'el. But let me let these brothers just respond to you real quick, because you got some more show with us.
Right.
Yeah, y'all can respond, fellas.
You want to go first, BA? BA might be a little busy.
BA, he's still on the line. He's probably on mute.
Yeah,
I guess you can address it.
Mm-hmm. I will address first, because I'm gonna deal with what the people who have been telling us how they tell us to address this, specifically Brother Zion and Brother Divine. In terms of, I'm gonna speak to our similarities first. I think we all agree with Torah. And I think that's why me, you, Chris, and BA had a good build. And by the way, I just, if you didn't hear me on a couple shows, and then Monday was just a hectic day. Like, I ain't had no time to get back at you, so I'm gonna get back at you today.
For sure.
But I know, I know we all agree with the Torah, so I think that's our similarity. I think where we differ is, for me, because I've been really listening to a lot of your videos. Like, I listened to the video that you did on Chris's channel, just specifically about the New Testament. And I think there is a I want to be very careful with the words that I use, because I respect you. I think there is a disconnect with what you hear Yeshua saying, or Yahusha, or Yahawashai, try to, use everybody's dialect. I think there's a disconnect of what you hear the New Testament Messiah saying and what the text says he's saying, especially if you break it down from various manuscripts. And that's what I was talking to Brother Divine about as well. If you look in the King James, you're reading from a Textus Receptus. And then if you go and read that even, through like a Codex Sinaiticus, because me and Brother B.A. had a good build on this earlier today, there is some language changes that we see. And I think you also have to realize, like, we're dealing with Hebrews because we can see Hebrew loanwords, words that are used in these texts. So, and this is the thing I want to talk to you in private about, is it gets very technical. And so, basically, and I'm going to end on this, what happens is there's a little bit of what the Christian church taught still caught up in your mind, as opposed to what the text is actually saying. Like, I can take you through where Paul is saying doers, be doers of the law, not just hearers. And Yeshua is teaching all of these things. So if we know that this is the undertone of the message, is to get to Torah, is to pray to the Most High. The fact that we have all of these differences and discrepancies has to be lost into translation somewhere. There's a discrepancy in how it is being translated. And so that's why we really got to sit down and build and try to, like, my biggest thing is, if you're going to teach, not so much you, but, others, but if you're going to teach the Torah. Don't attack the New Testament, because some of the things that you use to attack, we can use to attack the Torah, and I will never do that, number one. Two, I hate to say this, but it's just wrong. It's obvious that it's wrong, especially if you was to read the entire verse and read it in the context. I don't want to call nobody wrong and say you're misinterpreting, but it's just not saying the things that it's perceived as saying. So, that's something we need to build with offline, because it's not, he was never telling us to worship him as a God over the Most High. But you also have to take into account what we see happening in the Tanakh. And so, Most High willing, we will sit down and be able to build on that. But, I would love for us to build on the things that we have in common, and then the things that we see different. We have to be able to sit down and talk about them and not just talk over each other and think that, oh, my view is the best view. Because I can present this to you in a completely different light, to where you say, okay, at least I don't got to bang on him as hard. You know what I'm saying?
All right, I got to get back to Israel Doctrine and Mikha'el. Devon Mays, I appreciate your call. And once again, I appreciate your input. But BA, you still there, brother? Trying to see if BA is on. I got him on the phone, but maybe he got us on mute. All right. Let's bring in Israel Doctrine and Mikha'el then. Hold on. All right, y'all back on, fellas. Radio check, Israel Doctrine, you there?
Yeah, what's up, man? You know me. I was hitting you in the chat. Man, it's fanfare stuff and respect the person ain't biblical, man.
Nah, man. I knew you was going to go there, brother. I knew you was going to go there. Brothers is asking the questions just like they were asking you questions, brother. Brother was asking you questions just like there was,
I'm just saying in general. It's all peace and love. I just have to, I'm like talking behind people back. So I spoke to you, but the other people didn't hear it. So I'm just saying so people won't feel like I'm, But
it ain't like that, though. Putting it on the air since we making it public. It ain't like that.
Yeah,
but,
it's all good.
Let's go, Mikha'el, you there? Are you there, Mikha'el?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, we all back on the air. All right, so, you said you wanted to bring some stuff out, Israel Doctrine. What else you want to bring out? That's why I brought you back on.
Yeah, well, number one, like people were saying and stuff, when you deal with another TV and the Christian apologists, when they say they were attacking one West teachings, this is the problem amongst us, and you could say, well, let's deal with things we agree upon, but Leviticus 17 says something not seen up on your brother. You got to rebuke your brother and stuff when you know they wrong. You can't be like, well, I'm trying to keep the peace with the brothers. I'm not trying to do this and do that. It's like, nah, man, you out here bearing false witness or doing something which allows the world to look at us as a whole as no good, wicked, terroristic, people. So, like, one of the biggest things been in the House of Conscience, which I just went over to Cross the Line Radio, which we know that whole title come from, Tazaryach telling polite to cross that line, that salvation is for all righteous people and those who are willing to sojourn with Israel and to keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the God of Israel. They could even sacrifice. So when you deal with that, you deal with them dealing with the Levitical priesthoods, offering up their sacrifices for their sins and stuff, and them being able to be forgiven for their sins, and salvation given to the whole world, the house of God being called the house of prayer for everybody that's willing to sojourn with Israel. So I pushed that narrative for years. Like I said, with fanfare and stuff, it's like, I know people know my history in the House of Conscience. I know people know my history with the apologetics. I know people know my history over here. And it's deep. I debated Dr. Mayat, brought that whole paradigm into the community. And once again, all the Hebrew Israelites act like, hey, man, it ain't no salvation for no one else. So when you deal with the Christian apologetics, it's the same thing. What if they try to push Christendom and this and that? Christ is supposed to be the God, introduced to the whole world. You know, whether you say he before his father or not. Me and Divine had a henotheism conversation because I'm a henotheism. I deal with henotheism basically, right? But people act like they don't know that. Why? Because we couldn't have it on the House of Conscience. So since y'all didn't see it on the House of Conscience, y'all don't even know it exists. You don't even know what it was talking about. But that's what happened when you have Sadnetta that don't want to let you on, and you have Hebrew Israelites that don't want to allow you to come over and have a dialogue on that platform with them. You know, and that's it. Our platform allows that and been allowing that. You know what I'm saying? That's why at the same time when Divine talked about the Sankofa thing, who was out getting the bag it and do that stuff and was saying, come on out to it, Sal, and let's do this and that so you can start doing the live stuff. It was Sal. Trying to get him to host it and stuff. Though we was using, I was trying to use a House of Conscience person to open a new platform. So when I'm saying like fanfare and this and that, people asking and dealing with the stuff that they seen and stuff. I know I came in kind of harsh and on some, like I said, rebuking and trying not to, hey, don't suffer sin on people now. You know, that's just the way I am because I ain't got time to be sitting back watching unrighteousness, lies, and things perpetuated up on us as a people because one or two brothers don't want to do right. Like people will say, well, Carl, you be cursing and doing this. You don't represent us right. And the people look at us this way and that. But once again, it's because I try to talk to people, and it's like, look what y'all doing out here. And you mad at me because I'm just going hard and trying to tell people when it's the principal thing, step your game up and be more morally right and be righteous and have righteous judgment and no respect of person and all of this. If you're going to do it and you're going to say you brothers with people, right, irregardless of anything, if we saying we in the Bible, we saying we Israelites, then we brothers in that physical sense. You can say for us doctrine and belief system and stuff that we different and stuff. So how you going? I just don't understand people. But, you know, like at the end of the day, I'm the one that complains because, you know, a lot of people do the politics to get where they at. A lot of people do the politics to get people to look at them in that way. You know, the Zion Lexx and Harry Rosenberg, both of them. The stuff they was talking about. And then that's when Tazaryach hated on me. On side another one, I was trying to come in and take Zion Lexx in the Lexx spot and debate SETI. Tazaryach said don't let him on. Once again, hating. So, you know, it's all good and it's all love, but this respect the person thing and this fanfare, like man worshiping or man pleasing, man, it got to go from Israel too. The Torah says, suffer not sin upon your brother. And if even it ain't if we believe that Jesus is God or his father, this, that, when it comes to just breaking simple Torah or law, statutes, and commandments, you can go to the law, statutes, and commandments and show a brother when he outside those things and trying to tell a stranger that he can't come in if he want to come in is what caused the Christian apologetics to be born, or that whole thing that they doing to be born. And you know where they seen it at? When Tazaryach told the little Hamitic dude, you can't come to the cookout. When he come on, y'all. But hey, I'm going to slow down so conversation can be had. But if I had to keep talking just to keep talking, then I keep talking because I don't want to cut myself off and people be like, well, we don't want to talk no more because that was too strong. You know what I'm saying? Respect the convo and have convo. Don't run from it.
Yeah, Brother VA, you still there? Just want to do a radio check. VA, you there? I see you on the phone. Maybe you got yourself on mute, man. VA?
Brother had a long week, man. I know he might have fell asleep on his honestly. He had a real long week.
Sleep inside, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Mikha'el, I mean, you on the air? You want to address anything, Mikha'el? Go ahead. You can address it.
Yeah, I'm on here. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you out.
Well, y'all can hear me. I mean, after all that he just said, I mean, I'll be quite honest with you. It ain't like too much I can say because I'm gonna put it like this, man.
Let's talk about that topic you brought up, the fanfare and stuff like that. Let's talk about that. I mean, obviously, on every platform, there's people out there that's more recognized than others. On every platform. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about fanfare and stuff like that.
You
What's the
asking me
definition
to
of
talk
fanfare?
about?
Yeah, let's go there.
Okay. Well, since you asked me, and I'm coming on with it. The definition of fan is a fanatic. I'm a fanatic for the Most High God. I'm a fanatic for Christ. I'm also a fanatic for the nation of Israel. And so that's what I'm a fan of. If we want to use technical terms, because that seems like that's where everybody going now. But to listen to the brother Israel Doctrine just talking, and I've been on here long enough where I actually had time to listen to him. I've listened to Zion Lexx. I listened to Ron Divine Prospect. I listened to Tazaryach. I don't think Daniela called in, or none of the other brothers that we thought probably would have called in. Even Mikha'el Elvis, none of them called in. But I will say, and shout out to my brother B.A., that's my dude. But I will say this, man. I can understand. You see the reason why this title of this show you made is really good and perfect. It's basically asking what's the impact of the Israelites or Hebrew Israelites or Hebrew, whatever you want to call it. We know what it's referring to. What is the impact of them on this so-called house of consciousness? The conscious community and all that. And guess what? We see it right now. Do y'all know how many people going to check this out just off the names that you had on here? So if the Israelites didn't matter, if the Bible was so dead, then we wouldn't really raise no numbers like that. Now, as far as when the Israelites had a beef or whatever, I'm from a strong institution of the street. So my whole thing has always been, if you have an art with your brother, you take it to them first. If your brother don't receive it, then you take it to, like an elder or two with that brother. And if he still ain't trying to hear it, then it says you put him on blast. That's the protocol. That's the order. So if we want to go off that order, every last one of us have been out of order in Israel. Every last one of us. And I mean that for
also, if you do it in the open, you got to deal with it in the open. How you going to take something in the private and everybody here already heard and seen it? Because it's right here in the public.
Yeah, I can agree with that because, now see what you saying is if it's done incorrectly through the door. So, if it's done incorrectly through the door, then you can only react the way that it's already done. That's how the Most High works. You know this, Carl. You just laid down, you know the law, you know the Torah. So, I didn't want to come on here and then this whole show turns into some, bitter party or something with brothers back and forth. I'm looking at it from everything that you said, Carl, because I'm going to be 100 with you. When I thought of the House of Consciousness, right, that Sinetta TV thing, I learned from a lot of cats and stuff, like I said earlier. Even if I learned how pseudo it was, I knew I need to read some more books. But as far as on the Israelite scene, some people might say, oh, man, Mikha'el's just saying that because, they found out or whatever, we got the same teacher. I'm going to be honest, man. I'm finna name these names, and I ain't doing them in no particular order. I might even miss some. But before I even name these names, I'm going to say it, Joe. Brothers like Tazaryach, he definitely has an impact, regardless if we have differences. If you say he don't, you're a liar. This brother I'm on the phone with right now, Israel Doctrine, Carl, was one of the first cats I ever seen taking this social media thing where it was taken, because when I first had my first show and stuff, I had to go to brothers like him and another brother named H.O.K that's dealing with the hip-hop awards. And y'all probably know him because they do that universal Hebrew thing going from state to state or whatever. All of us are talking about the same cat. And then you have brothers, Dayala, Hassan, all them type of brothers, Nasi. I was there. I was in the Hebrew War Machine. Carl had differences with the Hebrew War Machine. But my whole thing is the bottom line is we are a threat, what we stand for. We are all trying to get the same goal and same point across, but we going about it totally different ways. And what has happened is groups like these apologetic cats have caught on to that, and they know that. So they'll try to use this against one another. That's the point I'm on. That is exactly the point I'm on. I ain't kissing no tail. I ain't kissing no tail because I remember when it's times where you got to separate from your own nation. You remember when Judah was into it with Ephraim, or the northern was into it with the southern, and the king tried to do that old brotherly thing with them, but God was mad at them. He got checkmated or paid for that. So them instances come up too. But what I do have to say while I'm live on your show, Sal, is it is just crazy to me how we can do this. Carl, I'm going to let y'all go after this. I just want to say this one word. But how we can do this right now in front of each other. And the funniest thing on earth is we have a group that has specifically formed up, like specifically formulated to attack the so-called Black Hebrew Israelite movement or identity, which I never called myself a Black Hebrew Israelite. I was one of the first cats that it was an FBI coin. Carl took it to another level and said he don't even want to be called a Hebrew Israelite because all that is going to be slapped up under the same. And at the end of the day, whether you call yourself a Hebrew Israelite or an Israelite or not, they putting all us in this one group, right? And what I'm trying to tell y'all is, like, this show tonight is going to get a lot of ratings because they're going to go back and listen to it. You had all these different characters throughout the community on this show. And I mean characters in a good way, not a bad way. And what I'm trying to tell you is they is trying to cut that off, man. They don't even want that to exist. So while we doing this,
they won't do that. They won't take their brother.
Done, Carl. All right, I'm almost done. And you know what? Yeah, you can finish, but you and BA, y'all can finish. But let me just say this last part. Y'all all know I'm not lying. They love to see this. Like right now while we talking, y'all know what they doing? They profiling our argument. They screen. Like right now, I promise you, they're recording everything we're saying. So when one of their videos come out, they're going to cut it, snip it, all that, whatever they do, and use it on an argument against each other. And guess why? This is the bottom part. Because the scripture said what it said. Look, Joe, he poured his spirit out. Isaiah, I think it's Isaiah 44:5 or something like that. If I'm wrong, y'all can correct me. But it said that we're going to start naming ourselves as Israel. You know what I'm saying? You got all these other scriptures tell you that we are going to wake up. And while we waking up, we going to have fights, man. I don't see why people even find that so amazing. Why we get emotional. You know what I'm saying? We are going to have conflicts because we are doing the most explosive thing ever in our history. We just left from being nobody's slave to go into telling them that, no, your ancestors wrote that book and now only you have the authority to teach it. Only we got the power to teach it. Nobody else can. And they are extremely upset about that. So they sending nigglets at us.
But at the same time, you ain't giving them the whole thing if you ain't telling them they can get salvation too and they got to sojourn with Israel and all of that.
Can I chime in? Can I just chime for like 5 minutes? Can I just get one?
That's true. All right, let me get the last part. Oh, go ahead, Sal. But look, what I'm saying is, brother, you absolutely right on what you're saying, bro. But what I'm saying is, we know we've been having this differences for Israel. Carl, you've been in this long as I have. Like literally damn near the same time. Over 2 decades. You know we've been having this same argument with Israelites even before all this Facebook stuff and all that stuff. We've been
There's no argument when the scriptures say within the Torah, as Zion Lexx said, we all Torah based, within the Torah that if the stranger want to sojourn, if he want to take her to Passover, if he going to sacrifice unto the Lord, all this stuff about the stranger in there. But yet won't nobody teach it. I don't hear nobody teaching lessons about sojourning. I ain't seen one lesson from no Israelite in the world with the title sojourn in their topics. In their, when you write out your lesson and you do stuff, I don't see nothing with sojourning in it because people don't want to even talk about it.
Bro, I literally just did a show earlier today with Chris Harris, bro, and we brought up sojourning, man. So my thing is, it comes up, man. But the whole crazy thing about it is, though, at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. But what I'm saying with the apologetic, the apologists, is that they don't even have a natural sense of what being with your people is. Like I'm just keeping it wrong, like 100. We can read all through the scriptures, even with Christ, when he came, when Jesus came, Yahshua HaMashiach. When he came, right, he specifically said he was going to his people. But if you say that, you're crazy. That don't exist. Who is your people? And what I'm saying is they don't even have a sense of that type of thing no more. Nobody's saying that's the only thing that exists in the scripture. You know how we already know that. Some Israelites don't like me for that because they feel like, man, how you think other nations can come amongst you or whatever, and I take them to them scriptures. 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 41 through 43, stuff like that, they teach them. And they can go out and teach their own people.
This is a great question, though. If they say you ain't supposed to deal with the Gentile or teach the Gentile, why they even dialoguing with the Gentile then? They should say, if you ain't Israel, we ain't going to talk to you. And then that way they not arguing with a stranger. They not telling them you can't get salvation. They not having no dialogue with them. But they dialoguing with them. They talking to white people and all kind of strangers in the street and telling them this, that, and everything else, which cause strife and which allow videos to go up and let the FBI, Southern Poverty Law Center, and all these different people take those things, profile us. I just did the lecture with you January the 30th. They profiling us and stuff based up off of that. You said earlier, I don't want to be no Hebrew Israelite because of the poster boys and poster girls that get the popularity test because they get on the popular channels and all this fanfare and stuff like, what they're doing is so grand and so great and stuff. And it's like, yeah, but what they doing is causing this profile to get on the whole group of people that call themselves Hebrew Israelites. So therefore, that's why I say I don't want to be no Hebrew Israelite. I'm not using that title because those are the ones that people posterized, got up on their wall, and giving the fanfare to and everything, and them the very ones that's going to get all of us put in concentration camps and locked up and black bagged and stuff because they out there representing, and the one that's coming with soundings and stuff is not doing it because people are not highlighting them because of their own personal.
You know what, Carl? Since he had me and you open up at the same time, because he know we got the same teacher. Everybody know that. Matter of fact, one West know that it ain't no secret. Me and you don't agree with everything. We don't even act alike on a lot of stuff. But you my brother, and I'm definitely going to bag you on a lot of stuff, because you misunderstood a lot of times, bro. And I try to tell brothers that the brothers misunderstood. You just don't care about explaining that you misunderstood. So let me say this, right? I'm going to be honest. If Sal want to set that up, then since maybe this H.O.K. conversation shows that it has benefited to a degree, and trust me, I don't really like Starting at the TV because he got that Don King nigga pimp thing.
Benefited us though, man.
Listen to what I'm saying, though, bro. Listen to what I'm saying. See, you a regular on that. You saw all y'all regulars on that. I remember I took a picture one day, and I was sitting on like a green couch. I think, what was my sister's couch? Green or something, red, and the background was green. They was like, man, don't tell me you was in Sinaitic Council. I'm like, hell no, I ain't never sitting on that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to be honest, though, what we could do one day, if Sarah want to do it, we can extend it. We can extend this conversation to what is the responsibility of the Israelites on every level. Meaning niggas got to leave Jake's got to leave their feelings at home, right? And we can take all the Israelites from all these paradigms. Let's put us all in the room live on Sound Showtime and let us talk about this thing.
Nah, that ain't going to be good, though, man. Because when you say if they beneficial to the
let Israel talk. Give Israel some time to talk. Israel.
But I'm just saying, when you say if they beneficial to the House of Conscience, they made the Light and Sarnetta a lot of money. They made people want to go over there and watch all that other stuff and everything. You know what I'm saying? If we Israelites, we supposed to be studying Kemetic. That's the thing with the divine prospect in the henotheism and stuff. Yes, we know that there's a heavenly council. We know that there's a conversation and stuff between a higher being, and a lower being. That is three different realms up there in the sense of the word. You could just go to 1 Corinthians 15 when it's tell you it's the glory of the moon, it's the glory of the sun, and it's the glory of the stars. That is three different breakdowns right there in the celestial realm. Even if you know what I'm saying, if you want to deal with it with the stuff like they said, the sun, moon, and stars and studying all that. Anyway, at the end of the day, as we done talked about it in the private, when you start dealing with other celestial beings, you don't give respect to the one, then the other one, because that's what henotheism basically break down to, the acknowledgement of God without denying the other. Now, the other can be one, or the other can be a plethora, a big number. But when divine does that and he tell you the Canaanite being all right, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to let you go ahead. I know Anonymous, you want to ask a question? Go ahead real quick. We only got 10 minutes on the air, y'all. Just letting y'all know, too. Go ahead real quick.
Oh. I'm just going to say this, and then I'm going to shut up, because I know y'all brothers, y'all got way more time in this than me, right? This is Anonymous Hebrew. I know y'all don't know me and all of that. There are people who wouldn't know you, Israel Doctrine, if it wasn't for that platform. So I'm not saying that that's this great platform. But that platform has been used there. But that platform has been used to bring our people out of slumber, because anybody with half a brain can look at that and see that it's biased, right? If you would have came and heard my opening statement, that was my opening statement was, look, it's help, but it's a mixed bag, right? So that's my first statement. My second statement is, when you're speaking about fanfare, just because brothers don't want to argue in front of the European don't mean that they are not trying to reach out to brothers behind the scenes. That was my last question to Tazaryach. How do we get to you if we disagree with something that you say? I had a brother come out on his YouTube channel, throw slander all on my name, lie on me and all of that. And I only been coming on this show now, like helping out and making comments and being part of the platform for about, 2 or 3 weeks. The brother went crazy on me to the point where he had to actually apologize because he knew he had said some wrong stuff. And instead of, because I had it all taped up, ready to go in, because I really am a street dude, right? That's just where I come from. Oh, you come at me? Well, let's get it popping. But instead, because of these laws, statutes, and judgments, I reached out to the brother in private and handled it. What I'm telling you is Brother Mikha'el said it perfectly. Brother, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm ex-military. I know how these Europeans work. All they doing right now is sitting back, writing up profiles on everybody. So the fact
I talked about it before it even
Let me finish, brother.
brother.
Let me finish. Please let me finish, though. Let me finish. I'll let you build. What I'm telling you is, brother, I got a great deal of respect for you. I actually did hear the build that you had with Divine about henotheism. And once again, my whole point is at times, brother, you argumentative for no reason or contrary for no reason. I shouldn't say no reason, because I know people get at you and they do stuff that is wrong. So I take that back. Please forgive me for that. I shouldn't say no reason. But with the level of knowledge and
in amount of time and grade, what we call in the military. You got time and grade. In this walk, you have such a potential to be way more effective if you reach out to these brothers behind the scenes. Right? You got so much knowledge, brother. I know you got knowledge. If you think I ain't learned from you, I will personally say, brother, I have learned a lot from you. What I'm telling you is there are babes that's just waking up out of their slumber. It's like they just popping up out of a chute, and all of a sudden they realizing that they Jake, as Brother Mikha'el would say. They don't need to see us arguing. They need to see us building. If your brother mess up, because just like everybody else, he flawed too. So if he mess up, go to him and let him know in private. That's what the New Testament say. Go to him in private, and go to him by two. Then go to him, and then if they can't get it right, then you kick them out. Then you say, look, we just not dealing with you no more. Right? That's not to supersede the Torah. That's just to teach us wisdom right now, because we are to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. We're supposed to learn this thing and be a wise nation. They shouldn't have nothing to say about us. And us sitting back arguing in public, that's the wrong answer.
We only have like 5 minutes on the air,
I
gentlemen.
was powerful.
Yeah, we only have 5 minutes, so I'm going to allow you guys to say your last pieces real quick, and then we can wrap it up. I appreciate everybody that called into the show. Let's go with Mikha'el first. We only got 5 minutes. Good.
All right, I'm going to go quick. I'd just like to say to everybody, man, give a shout out, of course. Y'all subscribe to Debate Talk for You Radio. This is my brother, Sal Showtime. He always bring it hard for the entire Hebrew Israelite community, the Israelite community. And I also got to give a shout out to Mac 144. Mac 144, y'all know about that. Check them out on YouTube, man. You know what I'm saying? Them brothers be getting it in. Of course, my channel was Hebrews in the Hood. The Walls of Jericho, and of course, on the Walls of Jericho, historical and biblical studies. Now, I just want to say, man, we got to get it on and let this slide. But I think this was a powerful bill for everybody. And if you could take this to the next level, Israelites can have a conversation on here without fighting. Because in the end of the day, the reason we having this conversation is because we got a lot of haters coming at us from all around the globe or the flat earth, whatever you believe. They coming at us, man, but they can't stop this growth. And with that, I say shalom, shalom, grace and peace.
Here's your doctrine. Go ahead, bro.
I appreciate the convo. That's pretty much all I got to say. Whenever I can get my voice out, I do my best to try to do it, and, being able to do that is cool, you know what I'm saying? That's all I be trying to do, man. At the end of the day, is really help the people grow. You know what I'm saying? I be staying away from the Bible now because of all of the hate and stuff people did over the years and stuff. It's bad when you got to fight without and fight within. You know what I'm saying? That's like coming home fighting with your family, then you go out in the street, you fighting with people. It make you want to go just start mowing people down and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But that's the type of thing that we got going on, that you fighting within and fighting without because everybody want people to come to their congregation or follow them and do that. I don't care if people don't follow me. Follow the word. Follow Christ. Follow the Father. Follow whoever you want to. You can even follow the Holy Spirit, whatever you think is Gabriel or whoever. Don't follow me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to lead a hoard people up to me and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But that's what people do for tithes and offerings and this and that, just like the regular Sunday people and stuff, man. Man, we in a messed up situation. And for us, people talking about these Christian apologetics and, the BIE and stuff. Me and Mikha'el did that presentation in Chicago at the Hard Rock Hotel and stuff, the profiling and stalking of the Israelite male, because they've been doing it. And that's why I said I don't use that term Hebrew Israelite, because it got religious connotations. People like, well, I just started being a Hebrew Israelite. If you're a Hebrew Israelite based upon nationality or birthright, you've been a Hebrew Israelite all your life. But it don't carry that national identity. It carries more of a religious connotation. You know what I'm saying? So people just got to sit down and really check out what's going on and stuff. You know, I got Israel, Doctrine,
Israel,
ORG.
Israel, real quick. What? So how should we refer ourselves, real quick? How should we refer to ourselves, other than Hebrew Israelites? How should we refer to ourselves?
Israel, the nation of Israel. That's like Brother Josh. I used to try to get on him because he was like, well, this and that is, God said he's going to say the Hebrew Israelites. If God said that, show it to me in the Bible, because we say we all proclaim stuff out of the Bible and can show you in the Bible. If you say God gonna save Hebrew Israelites, so he only came to Hebrew Israelites, and it ain't written in the book, you just bear a false witness on what's written in the book, because nowhere in the book does it say Hebrew Israelites. But you got all these scholarly people and stuff keep using that Hebrew Israelite term, and it's like, will one of the Hebrew scholars go back and show us even where that term comes from? We know African American come from Jesse Jackson. Please, somebody show me where Hebrew Israelite came from. Just one scholar.
We got to do a show on that, man. We got to definitely do a show on that one, bro. We got to do a show on that one, most definitely. I got to bring you back on for that one. But we only got like 2 minutes left in the air, and I got to let Anonymous Hebrew say something. Go ahead, bro.
Real quick, I just want to say thank you to all the guests coming, including Israel Doctrine. You know what I'm saying? And while we don't praise Sinetter's platform, it has been helped to bring out different things, different knowledge for our community. And I'll just leave us with this. It's time for us to start figuring out how we can work together. I think Brother Israel Doctrine has a good point about our name and what we call ourselves. And with that said, I say shalom to the rest of the audience. All praises to the Most High, right? The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That is our unifying point. And with that, peace, love. Good job, Sal.